Moderate excitement was generated by Nintendo's latest Direct. BlizzConline brought some goods, and we now know our live-action Joel and Ellie. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 257 of the It's Obvious podcast. My name's Garrett Drake. I'm joined online by Jacob Alga.
Hey guys, how you been?
Quite well. And we're joined by Preston Pugh as well, and we can actually see him this week, which is just wonderful.
Good morning. Here I am.
There he is.
Reunited once again. I think it's only been a week since our last episode. Is that right? Roughly?
2.
It's been 2 weeks?
Yes.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were at the mountains last week, sir.
That's right, dude. Time flies, man. That's
Come
crazy.
on, Garrett, use your noggin.
Man, it's funny. I almost forgot about the mountain trip, too.
Wow.
Wow.
Seems
That's
like
a great trip.
it was a month ago.
I know. That's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to start there. How was y'all's trip?
It was awesome. Preston, you want to take the lead on that?
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
We have like a handful of funny stories from that trip.
Yeah.
For sure.
Nice.
Yeah, it was just a nice, fun trip. You know?
Yeah,
Did you both snowboard, or did you guys ski?
we did. Let me go grab my tea. My tea! Be right back.
Yeah, we both snowboarded.
Nice.
If we were there for a few more days, I probably would have tried skiing.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do think I probably would have been a smidge better with, just because of my experience with water skiing.
Okay.
I've done that since I was a wee lad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was fun. Definitely, busted ass several times. I almost
Was that your first time?
snowboarding?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. That was my first time when I went in. I think it was 2 years ago now. My ass was also very sore after my first day.
The sorest thing, surprisingly enough, was not my ass. It was my right thumb, and it is still very sore. I got it caught on a rock at some point, and it like bent it back. And more than a week later, it is still pretty freaking sore. So I'm hoping I didn't accidentally hurt it or something.
So you and your thumbs, didn't you? Isn't that
I know.
the finger that you cut?
No, it's my other thumb. So I think I made a joke coming home from the trip. It's just like I just cannot at least have one, 100 thumb at 100%. They both have to be just messed up at this point.
No,
but yeah, those are that's the only injury I'm still feeling. But yeah, besides me just busting butt, I almost killed an older man as well.
This job well done.
Almost took a man's life on the mountain.
For a split second, I really thought I did kill this guy. He
So
stopped. Oh yeah, hit him is I feel like it's putting it lightly. I like full speed just assaulted this guy. He stopped right in front of me, him and his 2 kids right next to him. He just stopped. And I'm, learning how to, I still haven't learned how to what's it called? Carving yet? Or you're going left and right to kind of maintain your speed.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much going straight and then stopping, like sliding the board forward just to kind of break there. So I'm not actually going left and right. So I'm going down this hill and I see that he stops in front of me. So I swing my board sideways and I am braking, but there's not enough time for me to come to a complete stop or enough time to get around him. So once I realize that, the only thing I can do is fall to kind of, make myself slow down even faster. So I fall on my butt and I'm still not, going slow enough. So I pretty much just, my board just sweeps his feet out from under him and it sends me tumbling as well. So I'm on my face sliding down the mountain and I'm face first in the snow and it hits me holy crap, I just killed this guy. There's no way I didn't break this guy's legs or anything.
You stopped his heart.
Yeah. So I look up and his skis are just thrown like a couple of feet in both directions. His kids are just standing there, just like this mortified look on their face. And this guy's just still laying, on the ground. So that's when my heart stops.
To me.
Yeah, that's when I start panicking. I'm like, holy crap. So I turn around and, take my snowboard off my shoes and start just crawling up the hill to get to him as fast as possible. And
sir,
that's pretty much was it. I don't even remember what I said. I was panicking so much. But anyways, I got to him and he is just rolling. I clearly knocked the breath out of him. He's just trying to, shove as much air in his mouth as possible. So he's just rolling around. His kids are just staring at him. And I think I just was like, I'm so sorry, sir. I tried to get around you. Like I was just trying to explain myself. And I think I ended up telling him, like, I know you're so mad at me. You can punch me in the face if you want to. Like if it'll make you feel better.
Be careful. Someone will take you up on that.
But dude, I was if it prevented him from like suing me or like trying to kill him or whatever, I would have totally let him deck me in the face. But anyways, he ended up, being fine and kind of sat up, and he told me he appreciated me, actually stopping and coming back to check on him. And anyways, everything ended up being fine. But yeah, there's no way he was not feeling that the next morning or the rest of the day. But thankfully that was the only collision that I had. Mm-hmm. So but yeah, it was a good one for sure. But yeah, besides that, I just hurt myself majority of the time, just falling and trying to not hit other people. So
yeah. How was the snow out there? Was it like really icy, or because I've never been to the place you guys have you just went. So
it was kind of icy.
Yeah.
It was just not icy enough for it to be, I guess, usable to snowboard and ski on, but it definitely was crunchier than natural snow because it's all fake snow.
Yeah.
Because I've only snowboarded in like real powdery snow, so I don't really know like how it would be different. Like you probably go quicker, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, dude.
Felt like you're a freaking rocket.
We were like
launched.
Speeding bullets, man. It was terrifying. Yeah, I got going so fast sometimes. I could have sworn I saw my life flash before my eyes a couple of times. Thankfully, my worst injury was the very first wipeout I had the night we got there. Mm-hmm. And I had watched I was pretty confident going into it, just with the at least the basic understanding of core balance, like using your core to balance on just a board, even though snowboarding is vastly different from skateboarding. So I had confidence going into it, and I watched every tutorial to prepare, like how to get properly strapped into the board and how to, board with one foot, getting in and off the ski lift, and how to turn and blah, 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 blah. So I felt like I was prepared, but the one thing I forgot to watch is how to like safely wipe out if you have to bail. So my first time down this, they call it Easy Street. It was the first little baby slope we went down the night we got there just to get the basics down. Mm-hmm. So of course I like forget, all my logic just goes out the door, and like I forget I should probably try to carve down this hill, otherwise I'm going to fly down like 100 miles an hour. So I'm just going straight like a speeding bullet through the darkness, and it's like lightly drizzling rain. So I'm like getting rain all in my eyes, and I get going so fast I didn't know how to brake yet. So I was like, I'm gonna have to just fall over. So I just throw my body forward, and I just tumble down this mountain, like violently tumble down it, and like get all contorted and twisted, and I just tumble for a good 10 feet and land face first in the snow. I'm just like, holy shit. Because it was just so brutal. I remember Preston and I finally get down to the bottom of that hill. I was like, dude, I hope I can even do this tomorrow, because I basically just killed myself. But after that, thankfully, any wipeout I had was not bad. But by the end of our trip, we were doing pretty well. I mean, we could get down like the blues fairly well.
That's where I was.
The first
after
night was kind of rough, but yeah, we got down the basics and were able to get down some slopes and have like a ton of fun with it. Mm-hmm. I did run into one guy, but thankfully I was going slow enough and he was moving enough to where I basically just gently came up behind him, and I couldn't get around him because I was going fast enough to not turn in enough time, but I like basically eased into his back and like wrapped my arms around him because I knew we were both going to fall. Mm-hmm. It was almost romantic because we just like gently fell over into the snow. And of course, I'm whispering into his ear on the way down, like, I've got you. I've got you. I literally did say I got you in his ear, like on the way down. And we landed in the snow. I was like, sorry, man. He's like, oh, it's all good, dude. He's like, all right, later. Waddle back up and get going again.
That is one thing that I was kind of surprised by is how nice people were. Like the more experienced
everyone was very supportive up there.
Snowboarders. Yeah, like I had
except
a guy,
for the people that work there.
Yeah, there was one guy that worked there that I wanted to just throw down the hill. He was just the biggest dick I think I've talked to in a very long time. It's like he was just trying to be the biggest butthole. It was like we were getting off one of the lifts, and we had been getting off lifts all day, like fine, no issues whatsoever. But we went up this other hill for the very first time. And we were surprised to see that there was no like flat ground. It was straight up. You jump off the lift down into this mini hill. So I wasn't prepared for that. So
and mind you, like 1 foot strapped into your board too. It's like a steep hill off the lift.
Yeah. So I jump off, and just to kind of brace myself a little bit, I grab onto. I don't even know what I grabbed onto. The chair.
I think it was this. It was the seat. It was the chair.
Yeah. Okay. I just grabbed on something. Like it was my instincts to grab something. So I grabbed it, and this guy just starts yelling at me like, "Are you trying to kill yourself?" Like just that's. No, not really. I was
maybe he's got a point.
Yeah, I guess I think I was trying to live the rest of the day there. But so I get off, and he's like, "Welcome to the Blue Hills, boys." Yeah. It's like, sir, we've been doing Blue Hills all day.
Yeah. What's so ironic about that is that Blue Hill we did was
the
incredibly shorter and less complex than the one we've been doing all day.
Yeah, it's like this old guy trying to act tough. Like, dude, like I'm gonna break this board over your head. But yeah, besides that, everybody else was, very nice. This one, semi-experienced dude saw me just bust ass in front of him, and he slid up next to me and was like, "Hey man, like if it wouldn't offend you, I would love to give you some pointers." And I was like, "Man, by all means, like tell me anything you can." So he kind of
first man to get you out of those pants.
So
you're doing it all wrong.
So he kind of like we went off to the side down this little hill, and he told me how to like turn and stop better, and definitely helped out a lot. So shout out to that guy. But yeah, everybody was very nice. Even the man I almost killed was very nice about it as well. So.
Very nice. One of my favorite interactions with a skier. We were going up a lift with this guy that was clearly experienced next to us, and he had like a military ticket on. So I guess he had like some sort of special privilege in the mountain that day. But he had this flask he was sipping out of on the way up. I was like, "Hey man, you ever do one of those black diamonds?" Or like a double black diamond. These things are like 90 degrees straight down, like the first slope. It's just it's so terrifying looking that even looking at it made me feel nauseous when we were going up the lift. And do you ever do this black diamond? He's like, "Oh yeah, dude." And I was like, "Man, there's no way I could ever do that." I mean, I'm really I like snowboarding, and I definitely want to keep doing this in the future, but I can't ever imagine myself actually doing that. He's like, "Oh, no worries, dude." He's like, "That's why I carried the flask." He's like, "I take a couple of shots and I'm good to go." He's like, "Without it, I'd struggle." But I was like, "Man, that's a great idea." And I'm taking a break from alcohol this month, so I was like, "Man, if I had like a couple of shots of whiskey, like this would be so much less tense all day."
Yeah,
just like very lightly drinking throughout the day.
Yeah.
So next time, I'm going to take that approach and see how it goes.
Be careful.
And I actually found I snowboarded better because I wanted to make like a cool little highlight video. Mm-hmm. And whenever I knew I was filming, it's almost like that pressure when you like operate any camera, especially for a job. It's like you can't screw it up because you're just wasting people's time. I just like already have that within me. So I'm like, if I'm going to record this, I can't screw up. So it's almost like I snowboarded better and like with a lot less fear when I was filming, because I was like, well, I have no choice. I have to get some good shots. Mm-hmm. So I was like, whenever the camera was rolling, I felt like I thought about it a lot less and was just very natural about it. But as soon as the camera went off, I was just like analyzing every single thing I did, and I struggled more. But I think Preston mentioned at the beginning, we were just horrifically sore by the last day. And there was this moment on our last day before we needed to return our gear. We were at the bottom of the hill. I was like, man, you think you got one more in you? And Preston's like, no, I just fell really bad. I don't think I can. And I was already like that last run we did. I just could tell I was not only just totally exhausted, but I was just hurting in some places. I was like, that's probably a good idea. Maybe we'll just call it. And it's almost time to return the gear anyway, so we'll just go in. Dude, by the end of that night, it was unreal. Like, we both felt like we got hit by trains. It was insane. And like for the subsequent days, for like 2 or 3 days after that, I was just dead. But if we had gone up that mountain one last time, I don't know if we would have made it back down, because we were just in that much pain, and there was like that slight hint of adrenaline left over from going down the hill. We couldn't tell how much pain we were actually in. But we're making it sound like the whole thing was a nightmare, but like the vast majority of the trip was outstanding. So I look forward to snowboarding again for sure. I wish I could afford to go again this year before winter's over, but I'll have to probably wait till next year. And I'd love to go out west next time, anywhere like Utah, Colorado, any of those places. So we'll see. But I'd love if more of us could get together too. I mean, Preston and I had a good time, but I feel like if we had at least 4 of us, it'd be really cool.
Yeah, I'd love to go sometime.
I thought of you and Zach the entire time we were there.
You told me, yeah. It made me shed a tear.
Yeah, I was shedding tears internally. That's for sure.
Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I'm glad no one was killed, you or another individual.
It was very spontaneous too. I was happy for that. I mean, it was more than just snowboarding for the first time. Just like, I think Preston and I both needed a good trip like that for a weekend, because on one hand, yes, we got away for a while, but also we were doing something we had never done before that required a fair amount of courage. And because of that, it felt like a far more successful and rewarding trip. Yeah. And I reached out to Preston, because I did reach out to you and Zach. I remember I did, about this trip, but obviously both of you guys had stuff going on. And I reached out to Preston. I was like, man, do you have any interest in snowboarding? He's like, yeah, sure. I was like, you want to go in a few weeks? He's like, yeah, that's actually perfect timing. I was like, great. So we planned it and went a few weeks after. So it was awesome.
Nice, dude.
What have you been up to, Jacob?
Well, one thing I wanted to say was, unlike me, you guys didn't have any tutors. So that's even more impressive. Like, at least when I went out and like when I was learning, I had 2 people that I went with that were showing me literally everything that I needed to do. So I didn't have to like worry about, do I need to go get a tutor, or like, do I need to watch videos? Like, I didn't do any of that. I just went out there, strapped my boots on, or my board on, and just went, and I learned. But what I've been up to, basically, went to the doctor this week, working on getting my surgery scheduled. So that's exciting. It's actually been kind of annoying, because I'm supposed to call this lady at the hospital after 5 p.m. And so I did that on Thursday. And she said, so I had to leave a voicemail because no one picked up. And she said to leave up to like 72 hours because they're getting so many calls of people scheduling surgeries. So it's now Sunday. Haven't heard a single thing. So probably going to call at the end of the day today and see like, hey, what's up? Like, is anyone going to get in contact with me? Because I really like to, get this thing scheduled so I can sort of move on with my life, because I'm sort of like stalled right now because I can't do a whole lot until I have my surgery. And then, I need to get that taken care of because it's sort of preventing me from doing anything that I want to do right now. So that's been kind of frustrating, but still trying to get that knocked out. And then like usual, been working, been driving around, been doing a lot of reading, actually. I've really started to read a lot more lately. And to the point where I'm reading like, I think I'm reading 5 books right now at the same time.
Dang, like Preston playing video games.
Yeah, like it's, and I never thought that I would, like I never thought that I could handle more than 1 book at a time, but it's actually kind of, what's the right word? Like, I don't know. It's kind of like, it's interesting and it's compelling to be reading so many different things at the same time. And it's not at all challenging to remember where I was or what I just read, and I'm reading like a broad range of different kinds of books too. So that's sort of helping. So I can sort of like read 10, 15 pages in one, then put it down and, turn over a new leaf, start over something, or not start over, but, just jump into something completely different. And it's like I never stopped reading it to begin with. So that's been really satisfying and I guess sort of liberating for me lately. And been learning a lot. So that's sort of why I do like to read, is because I like to educate myself. And that's sort of why I like reading. I don't really read to, like go on an adventure with Harry Potter or something like that,
Although I have loved that in the past.
Sure, yeah. But I think I'd be much more likely to jump into a video game if I wanted to sort of enjoy an adventure or something like that. Not to say that, what are they? Nonfiction books are bad or boring.
I feel you.
I don't know.
I mean, one good thing about nonfiction, especially when it's written very well. I mean, Harry Potter's a different story because it's written for like a child audience for the most part, although adults can enjoy it.
Wait, is it fiction?
Like there are nonfiction.
I think it's fiction that's fake.
Fiction is fake, yeah. That's what I meant, yeah. Some fiction books are written like very intellectually, and you can still get a lot of like vocabulary and writing skills out of just reading it. But I get what you're saying. I like whenever I read, which is actually pretty often these days as well, it's typically something that I think is going to be edifying in one degree to another. But I was going to ask you, this is actually kind of a cool topic, because I know we have a lot of readers on our Discord too. I know we have like a book section. I don't know how active that book section is, but
not very active.
I know at least a portion of our audience does read books, so they might find this interesting. I was going to ask you, like, I know you're reading 5 books right now, but what are like 1 or 2 that you're most interested in right now?
So one that I just picked up and that I'm probably 50 pages in is Matthew McConaughey's new album, or not
Green
album.
Light.
Yeah, he's called Green Lights. He wrote a book. It's called Green Lights. It's very interesting. I mean, obviously, well, maybe not obvious to everyone listening, but I don't know. I've always been a little bit of a fan of Matthew for a little while now, especially after
you guys are on first name
Big
basis,
Short.
huh?
Oh yeah, we are. He knows a lot about me, actually. I don't talk about it a lot because it's kind of embarrassing, because I'm a big deal. He's sort of coming up, so. But his book it's basically just like it's sort of like 4 books in one. It's like a biography. It's kind of like a diary. It's sort of like it's like life lessons. It's sort of like based on this idea of green lights that he sort of coined, which is like taking advantage of an opportunity when it's presented to you, and not just like, not doing anything about it. Like, and like he goes like into this analogy of like red lights, yellow lights, green lights, and it's, it kind of makes sense, but it's more so just, him going through his life and when he recognized when green lights would sort of happen, and then how he sort of maneuvered around those, or not around them, but took advantage of them. So it's enlightening in that way, and learning a lot about his life naturally. And he's an interesting guy. He's done a lot of interesting things. So I definitely recommend it to a lot of anyone that's just looking for, if you just want to know more about him, or
that McConaughey fix.
Yeah, exactly. Or just looking for some advice on maneuvering through life. I think this book might help you. So I'm going to be loaning it to my mother after I read it, but it's not too expensive. Anyone can afford it. That's the one that's been most exciting right now. And then I'm rereading, I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but Why We Sleep. I'm actually going to finish the book this time. I've started it twice and I stopped reading it like, a quarter of the way through, but learning a lot right now about how sleep medications affect your sleep, which I am guilty of taking on some nights when I really need to fall asleep quickly.
I'm talking like melatonin or actual like prescription sleeping pills?
Just like melatonin, something not too dangerous, but like, because I have the problem of going to sleep at different times depending like what's going on the next day.
I kind of do the same.
Because I like to stay up late naturally. It's just how I've always been. So it's sort of like I've been coming to the realization that I need to probably start going to bed at the same time every night, and then just getting in this routine so that my body isn't reliant on, a medication, or not a medication, but, any kind of pill or anything like that. And been reading about how diet affects your sleep, how caffeine especially can keep you up for way longer than you think it does. Like apparently just a little bit of caffeine can keep you up for like 5-6 hours. Like,
Dang,
like it's going to be in your system for that long.
My body needs to get that memo.
Yeah. Yeah. When I read that, I was like, oh my God, like I need to stop drinking soda for dinner.
Well, that's dude. I can drink. I'm not even joking. 5 cans of soda and just be dead within 10 minutes. Just pass
That's
out,
crazy.
sleep a full. Yeah, it's like caffeine doesn't work for me at all.
I feel like a lot of people say that, but I mean, maybe you're right, but I feel like people.
I mean,
also
I
might
know
just be
people.
numb to it.
I'm not exaggerating. I slept 10 hours last night and drank probably like 4 cans of something last night.
Jeez. You're a titan.
So I've never had a problem sleeping. Of course, I'm not saying that what you're saying is 100% true. For some reason, though, I just I have no issue sleeping at all.
Everybody is literally different. So
yeah, that is true. That is true.
It's the truest thing I've ever said. Those are the main 2 ones that are really exciting me right now. Reading another one about business. Reading one about I think it's called Start with Why, which I've also tried to read before.
I think I've heard of that book.
Yeah, it's very popular. It's based off a TED Talk by a guy. It's the guy that had the TED Talk, but it's his book, and he just put it in a book form. But yeah,
Nice.
My mother just loaned me like 3 books, so I got a lot on my schedule to look forward to. But yeah.
One thing about reading that's also a healthy practice is that it may be different for you, but for me, I mean, I do enjoy reading. I really do, but I also often have so much that I need to do that it really is like a discipline I've had to develop. There are certainly, because I typically do the majority of my reading in the mornings. Like that's often what gets me out of bed every morning is also taking a break from coffee this month, but typically what gets me out of bed is just the idea of having a freshly brewed cup of coffee and reading a book for like an hour. I love that so much, but there are certainly those mornings where I'm like, crap, I have so much crap I need to get to. Like I'll just put this off till later. And it's for some reason, it's hard for me to read in the afternoon and the evenings. I would love the discipline which I have done very briefly in my life over the last year, where I'm like, okay, I'm going to begin my day with reading. I'm going to end my day with reading, and typically reading my Bible in the morning and at night, in addition to whatever other book I'm reading. And that often has helped me wind down, because I have that habit, dude, where I'll sit and watch Netflix or YouTube videos for like an hour and a half as I'm trying to fall asleep every night. Yeah. And I've found that like it is true, if I can just have the discipline to read for like half an hour before I just lay down and try to go to sleep, like it really is effective, but it's hard for me to do that. But yeah, just in addition to whatever you're reading, if it's informative or increases your knowledge to some capacity, just also the discipline it takes to just sit down, especially in our modern world where we're surrounded by distractions at all times. That's a good discipline to have for sure. Yeah.
It's definitely hard sometimes too, because just like it'll be nighttime. I have like an hour, and I could either, sit down, read a book for a solid hour, read a few books actually, or, play a game for an hour. And what I want to do is play a game every time, but I sort of have to force myself to do better habits sometimes.
Totally.
But
I've read quite a few books over the last year as well. I think the one that stands out the most out of many, most recent, is a book by Kevin DeYoung. It's called Taking God at His Word.
Oh, really?
And the subtitle is Why the Bible is Knowable, Necessary, and Enough, and What It Means for You and Me. And it is an absolutely phenomenal read. Cannot recommend that highly enough. Especially if you have read the Bible or been interested in the Bible or even read a portion of it. It is very, very informative. It's all entirely based in scripture as well. Just explaining that subtitle essentially, and it's outstanding. So I cannot recommend that highly enough. That's been one of the best by far. One book I read that is not necessarily one that's informative, it's just a very beautiful read. It's almost poetic in a sense, is called The Valley of Vision. And it's a collection of practically ancient Puritan prayers that were written down and all collected and put into this book over time. And they're just really beautiful prayers from these Puritan Christians like throughout time that have been written down. They're just a very poetic way to pray and express one's thoughts and heart for God. And No, I wouldn't say anyone in our modern society prays like they did, but we use like modern English, but reading it how they wrote it then, it's a very interesting, what I would say edifying read. Is just very spiritually encouraging. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, aside from that, mostly just my Bible these days. I haven't picked up. I am reading a book by Mark Batterson right now called If, with one of my Bible studies. But I'm only I'm not even halfway through that book, but it's been good. The thing about Mark Batterson, I like him a lot as well. He's the pastor of National Community Church in D.C. He's written some really good stuff. I think the ones we've read are Wild Goose Chase, In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day, Circle Maker, or Draw the Circle. Draw the Circle is probably my favorite from what I've read from him so far. We've read one other one, but we're in If right now, and it's been good too. But yeah, I can talk about books a lot. One thing I wanted to say about Harry Potter books before we move on is I don't imagine myself ever rereading them for myself, but I love the idea of having kids one day and like reading them out loud to my kids.
Yeah.
I would love that, dude.
That would be so fun.
I think that'd be really cool.
That's a good idea. Oh, man.
That's what I imagine doing one day. I did start Dune, but I have not finished Dune. It's a very dense book.
Isn't that a movie?
I thought like I'd be able to finish it before the movie comes out, but we'll see.
Well, this is a podcast about games, so I would like to talk about some games.
Yeah, what have you guys been playing?
I do want to bring the mood down just a little bit, Garrett. I have got to get a new headset. Mine crapped out back when Jacob just started off talking. So my file is 2 files. I had to restart Audacity for it to even pick me up again.
That's all right.
I apologize.
No.
I know.
Just make my day a living hell.
I know.
To edit.
Sorry. I'm going to be able to
like an extra 5 minutes.
All right, cool. Just wanted to throw that out there just in case we needed to do anything. But anywho, are we talking about games now?
We
are.
What
have you been playing?
You're up, pal.
All right. I'm not going to have too much to say. I played a decent amount of Assassin's Creed Valhalla this week. I know that's pretty much the only thing I played. I'm really trying to Valhalla. I'm just trying to finish the game. The more I play it, the more I like it. I think every time I talk about the game, I think you're lying to yourself. No, I'm not. I'm really not. The story's getting more interesting. I'm like, for instance, a few of the missions that I did last night really introduced the the Order of the Ancients, which are the Templars, and I'm kind of seeing what they're actually doing in this game. So that's interesting, and the combat. I know I say this exact same thing every time too. The more and more I upgrade, the funner the combat becomes. There's just the point I'm at right now. I have so much stuff that I can do. I just got the ability to be able to dual wield 2-handed weapons. So
holy crap.
Yeah, that just looks really cool. I'm running around with a 2-handed sword and an axe and in one hand as well. And it's pretty cool how they, planned for just every weapon to have, different animations and stuff. So that's pretty impressive, just the amount of animations that are in this game, depending on if you're dual wielding or, just using a 2-handed weapon or whatever. So
how's the stealth when you're at this level? Does that change at all? Is it pretty standard throughout?
There are different stealth abilities you can unlock. Like, for instance, I just unlocked the ability to immediately pick up a body when I assassinate them. So, which of course that doesn't change anything. It's just like a quality of life thing. So if you just hold down R1, you just automatically pick them up. So that definitely makes it, easier to be stealthy. You can set traps on bodies as well. So, when somebody comes and investigates it, they'll blow up. What else? Those are pretty much the only 2 I've been using. I know stealth is not essential at all, but I still use it all the time pretty much. And I, anytime there's a castle or something, I definitely try to do it stealthy. Like, for instance, there was a main mission that I did last night where I had to infiltrate this massive castle that we were about to attack, but I had to sneak in before the assault so I could disable some traps that they had set up. And that was probably one of the coolest missions I had done. It was at night, and I was able to just, shimmy up the side of the castle, take out a ton of dudes, and sabotage all their crap, then escape, and then lead the assault the next morning. So that was pretty cool. I just got to London as well, which is by far the coolest city in the game. It actually kind of feels like a classic Assassin's Creed city. So I've been having fun exploring, that place.
How does this London compare to the London in Syndicate?
I mean,
because obviously it's long before Syndicate.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks like a really old place. there's like a Colosseum there, and
it looks like an old place.
Yeah, it's just really old buildings, and it's the most like city like thing I've seen in the game thus far. So it actually feels more like an Assassin's Creed game when I'm running across these rooftops and stuff,
cool.
as opposed to just
the woods,
riding my horse. I was able to upgrade my horse for him to be able to swim now.
Upgrade my horse.
Yeah, there are horse upgrades with stamina, and there's an upgrade that lets him swim now as well. Which that was very annoying in the game. Is running into water, not knowing if it was super deep or not, and then the horse throwing you off. Whereas now
everything
you
you're
can
saying
just
is making me want to dabble again.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it. I'm trying to platinum it I've kind of caught the trophy bug again, where I want to actually complete all these games on my list. So I definitely want to finish this game. Another thing that's keeping me going is I really enjoyed the armor system in this game as opposed to Odyssey. I like how there's much less armor, but it looks cooler, and I feel like it actually does more different things. Like, I just completed my Thor armor set last night. And to even get that armor, I had to fight a bunch of these really cool bosses that were, actually really challenging. They had different move sets and stuff. And so I got Thor's armor. So I've been rocking that for a few hours now, and it looks really cool.
Thor's armor.
Yeah, it looks really cool too. Of course, I've got 2 pieces of Assassin's gear that I have found. So of course, once I get all of that gear, I'm going to be rocking it. But yeah, I'm just slowly chipping away at that game. I plan to, put more time into that this week for sure. I have this week off. I've actually, so I'm hopefully can finish.
That's like the best feeling in the world sometimes.
Yeah, I don't feel guilty about it either. I guess just a quick heads up, I'm back to my old job, which I am thankful for. I missed it big time. I know I'm going to be traveling and stuff more, but it's definitely what I need to do right now for a lot of reasons. But that's going to allow me to play more games because I'll be out of town. But having just worked out of town this past week and knowing that I'll be in Florida for probably about a month and a half, not straight, kind of going back and forth. But it's going to let me be able to actually enjoy this week off, knowing that I'm not just wasting my time. I don't know if that makes sense, but
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing some more Valhalla, and definitely jumping into some Persona 5 Strikers, and finishing up Persona 5 Royal either tonight or tomorrow before I jump into that game.
Oh boy.
So yeah, it's happening. But
that's very exciting.
Yeah, I do want to throw out one thing I did not play, but I did start. So listeners of the podcast and you guys know that I had a Sleeping Dogs saga that I went through where the game literally just crapped out on me. I could not progress any further in this really good game for whatever reason. So it hit me that, man, maybe I should try this on PS5. Maybe I'll have, better luck on here. So I downloaded Watch Dogs the other night, downloaded my save from the cloud, jumped into the game, and immediately I saw something I have yet to see yet on PlayStation 5. I had an icon come up at the top right-hand corner, and it tell me that, warning, this game might be unstable on PS5. So I'm like, what? Dude. What is this? So I start the game, I push continue, and the game immediately crashes. So I'm like, holy crap, I'm just not destined to beat this game. So I restart the application, push continue. It actually starts loading. And dude, the game loads a save that I have never seen. I am in like a suit in this pimped out apartment. I'm like, what? Where am I? So I pull up my statistics and it says I've beaten the game. It says like,
did you get the trophies?
No.
Dang, dude.
I never beat this game on PS4. Never. The only
time amnesia and maybe you beat it and just have no memory of beating it.
So check
Good
this
point.
out. I go to my save file and the save file says 25% through with like 11 hours.
But you're at the end.
But I'm at the end of the game with all the missions complete.
That's wild.
It makes no sense.
That's like cyberpunk levels of glitch right there.
So I bring up the load screen and I'm like, this is clearly a glitch because only the main story's complete. All the side missions and stuff, I think they're normal. So it just glitched me through the entire main campaign, but didn't give me any trophies. No trophies popped or anything. At least if that would have happened, I would have just, gone and mopped up the side quest to platinum the game. But because I've beaten the game before. I know the story. I beat it on 360 though. I do want to say, because like you said, maybe I was crazy. Maybe I did actually beat it on PS4. No, I swear I did not. I beat it on 360 way back in the day. So anyways, I bring up the loads, like the my past saved games or whatever, and the only manual save is one at like 45 minutes into the game where I'd done 2 missions. So I loaded that just to see what it was. And it's a save like at the very beginning of the game. I bring up the load screen again and the save that I had loaded into where I had apparently beaten the game was gone. So I go back to my actual save data in my system and it says the like 25% complete. That's all correct. But the game literally won't load it. It's just loading random saves that I've never even made. So I deleted the game. It's not, I would have to just play through the entire game again, which is fine. It's a fun game. If I could be guaranteed that the game wasn't going to glitch out on me and wouldn't allow me to continue, I probably would jump in again. But I can't take that chance. I can't put in another 10 hours for the game to just crap out on me again, So it sucks, dude, because Sleeping Dogs is a really solid, fun game. I very much enjoy it, but it's just not meant to be. I'm not meant to.
Crying shame, Preston.
I'm not meant to platinum this game, so it is what it is.
Can you live with that like 25% completion on your list?
If I
what are you
ever,
gonna do about it?
yeah,
Are you gonna whip up the old PlayStation 4 Pro and do what you need to do?
If I ever get to a point where like I have there's nothing to play and it's just a drought for just several months and I can't even play like and I'm caught up in like Final Fantasy 14 and stuff, then I might jump into that. But there's literally no reason for me to.
Preston, all I'm saying is it's a stain on your trophy list right now,
dude.
Stop mastering it.
That I have many stains. If Sleeping Dog was like the only game that I haven't 100%ed, then yeah, I'd suck it up and do it. But I was actually going through my trophies, and there are so many games like back when I first got PlayStation that I didn't even come close to completing. That I would have to buy a PS3 and start going through old games for me to have a higher completion rate. So it is what it is.
It still blows my mind that console was $600.
PS3.
Like PS3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like gnarly, dude.
Jeez.
Dude, my uncle bought it too. Like opening.
That's the thing. It still sold like pretty well over its lifetime, didn't it?
It ended up selling very well. It started out extremely, rocky, but I think it ended up overtaking 360s in sales worldwide. So
that's insane. I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's crazy. And 360
was
just a phenomenal generation too.
Yeah, 360 just doesn't sell well in like Japan and
that's true. I always forget about
those
that.
countries, but I mean, I think in terms of a overall console, I definitely enjoyed the 360 more. The third party
Same.
ports ran better on it, like Skyrim and Fallout
And that
3.
controller
And
kicked ass too.
yeah. Oh, dude, I was actually at somebody's house a few weeks ago, and they had a PS3, kind of like laid in the corner, and I went and picked up the DualShock 3.
DualShock 3.
And
Gosh, that thing sucks.
Sucks.
It's so bad.
I cannot believe they made a controller that bad.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
crazy.
It is the lightest thing I have
You played the
ever
first
held.
3 Uncharted games on that controller.
Yeah, that's what we had, man.
Man, that's incredible. I mean, the R1 and L1 buttons were okay, but the sticks, and the R2 and L2 were awful.
Yes, so bad. But man, that console had some killer first party titles.
Oh, totally.
I mean, the Uncharted trilogy, Last of
God
Us,
of War.
God of War 3.
Dude, Little Big Planet.
Yeah. So
Infamous.
many I can't even remember. Yeah, the infamous 1 and 2. Those are great. How are those not on PS4? There are some games that aren't on PS5 or 4 that it's just a crime. Like the Sly Cooper trilogy, dude.
Dude,
Why can we not play that?
For that?
Gosh,
Give me
enough with
you don't
Sly
even have to
Cooper.
remaster it. Just give me 60 FPS Sly Cooper on PS5 collection. I will buy that instantly.
Like the Sly collection is stuck on PS Vita and PS3, and that's a shame.
Good.
Man,
It's an
tell me,
absolute
what are you
shame.
doing, guys? What are you doing? Give us that while we're waiting for your Ghost sequel. Gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things. Especially when we'll
I'm
talk about it
sorry,
later,
dude.
but-
We can play them on PS Now. My
Oh,
bad.
cool.
There you go.
Yeah. I want to stream on my 10 megabyte down
right.
internet an
Yeah.
old PS3 game. I want to play
I'm
Sly
surprised,
4 as well. I never finished
Yeah, I've
that
never
game.
played Sly 4.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it's taken Naughty Dog this long to port Last of Us to PS5. When they're like the king of the PlayStation studios, they knew well in advance
Yeah.
PS5 was coming.
They
You'd think they would have been better prepared.
They have to be doing it for a reason. My theory, which it's not a, crazy theory. I've seen other people with it as well, but I think that they are wanting to put out their multiplayer mode, the factions or whatever,
Mhm.
at the same time as
That
the
makes
update.
sense. More
have like
enticing
a-
for people who haven't already bought it to like definitely buy it now.
Yeah, or like maybe make a PS5 like edition, like you said, that you can buy with some DLC or factions or whatever,
Mhm.
and then just have the update for existing owners.
Right, yeah.
But there has to be a reason that they haven't at least uncapped the frame rate or done a little updates. I think they're kind of saving it for like a bigger thing. So
There's a part of me that would want to do a full, because I started a second playthrough that I just never finished it, but I would continue like my Survivor playthrough with 60 FPS on PS5, and especially like the DualSense features and stuff. That'd be, imagine like all the different weapons in them, shotguns, handguns, rifles, the bow, explosives, like what they can
Yeah.
do with the controller.
or like,
And like just the way you like crawl around and like how it would feel when different enemies attack you, like a clicker versus like a human enemy. You could do so much interesting stuff with that.
100%.
Yeah, very, very I cannot wait to see what they're doing with their multiplayer mode. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I loved what we got in the first game, but I mean, there's so much potential with what you can do in that world.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, same here.
Random thoughts.
But yeah, that's all I've done.
Nice. What have you been up to, Jacob?
I've been up to quite a few things, actually. Trekking away through Persona 5 Royal. I have completed the 4th palace, which is
Man, you guys
Futaba's.
impressed me playing that game. I tried to play earlier this week, dude, and I couldn't get past like 2 minutes.
What?
Garrett.
I was in a just long ass dialogue scene. I'm
Garrett.
like, get me out of here.
Garrett,
It's my own fault.
disappointing.
I did not prepare my mind for that experience. I had other things on the mind, which I'll explain later, but I couldn't discipline myself to get through it.
That's makes me very sad.
I think I've come to the very hard truth with myself in that game.
Don't say
It's,
it. Don't
Garrett,
say it.
You're just
I love
not in the mood
everything.
for it.
I love everything about it, but the gameplay just can't get me enough to stick with it.
Don't
It's
say
the
that.
gameplay that just I can't do it.
The
for more than,
gameplay
like,
is
small amounts of time.
fantastic, Garrett.
I'm not saying it's bad gameplay. I don't want you to mistake me. I recognize the excellence of it. It's just it's a style of gameplay that just has never grabbed me.
I won't accept that answer. I just think you're in a rut right now. Don't give up.
I am. I'm going to be in the mood again at some point. I promise. I'll explain why I'm not in the mood right now.
Even take it from me, dude. Everybody that listens to me talk, including you guys, know that I am absolutely madly in love with this series. I still haven't beaten it yet. I still have yet to beat this game. And it took me, I've been playing this game for 8 months. So it's even me. I have been in, month-long stretches where it's just not what I want to play. Yeah. But, just keep going back to it.
I will. I promise. Again, when I get to what I've been doing, it'll make more sense.
Mm-hmm. I will say one thing though, this week I played it less than I have in prior weeks because I hit a little bit of a rut. I was like, man, do I want to keep just pressing X over and over and reading all this dialogue, or do I want to play something that's a little more, actiony and
stimulating?
Fun right now? Yeah, stimulating. Thank you. But
there are just some times where you want to just shoot stuff or hit stuff or listen to a podcast while you're doing a combination of those things. And Persona sometimes is almost like we were talking about previously, just sitting down and kind of reading a book for a little bit. Mm-hmm. But
exactly, it takes discipline to play that game.
It's definitely worth the payoff. It's worth it.
Yeah. I think it's biggest issue sometimes is the pacing, because especially after the fourth palace, not only do you go to Hawaii, which is a hour-long dialogue. Okay, not really spoiler. You go on a trip.
No, I don't want to play, dude. You ruined the game for me, dude.
And you go to Hawaii, and that takes an hour to get through everything before you can save. So you have to click, you have to sit here and read all of that.
It's
and
character bonding.
It is, yes. And it's and I did it right before I had to go to work one morning. I was trying to rush through. I was oh my gosh, come on.
I'm going to be late. Wrap this up, gang.
But I don't want to miss out on this. And I couldn't turn it off because then I'd have to do it again. But
you could have put your PlayStation in rest mode. It would have stayed.
Yeah.
I guess
I've done that with Persona a lot.
Yeah. I didn't think of that. I'm not a big rest mode guy.
Oh, man.
I'm rest mode all day.
Yeah,
man.
my console lives in rest mode.
Oh, what? You guys leave your power on?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of disturbing when I think about how long my phone and laptop have been on for years.
These things are made for this. These things are made for this crap.
Anyways, so I just got to the point where I'm in the fifth palace. Still having a lot of fun with the game. The fifth palace, I really enjoy the Preston, I think you said you weren't necessarily too into the music, but I am. I really like the fifth palace's music.
I like it. It's just it's not my favorite. Futaba's palace theme is just excellent.
It's good. It's really good.
So good. And Price as well, which is the name of the theme that plays in the third palace. Love that one as well. Gotcha. I do, and it's just the fifth palace is just I do like it. It just is so different than the others, which is fine because it fits the palace. Sure. Definitely fits what's going on in there. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah. I'm trying to sit here and think of what else I can really share about the game. It's such a good game, on almost every front. I just said earlier that it has some pacing issues sometimes, but I'm in a good flow right now where I just got back from Mementos. I just maxed out my first confidant, which was the politician guy.
Dude, I don't think I got to level 3 with that guy.
Oh, what?
He's my least favorite guy.
He kind of sucks.
I would do useful. Anything besides going to talk to that guy.
See, what I did was I always made sure, because usually on Sunday nights you could go and listen to him speak, so I would do that. So I would always reserve my Sunday night. And then when you get to a certain point, he starts speaking on nights that aren't Sundays. So anytime that he would ask me to do something in an evening, I would usually go and do that. And I would favor that over Kawakami, the
Kawakami
teacher.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's right. I thought you were trying to say Kasumi.
No. Okay. I have Kasumi maxed, or she's rank 5. And
okay,
she gets more ranks when you get to the third
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, just talk about Persona for another 4 hours on this episode.
You want to? I'd love to.
How's it going with the counselor? I always forget his name.
It's good.
Mashuma.
think I'm 6 or 7 ranks through.
Maruki?
So.
I think it's Maruki.
Maruki, yes.
Yeah, Maruki.
Always hanging out with him, usually, unless I'm like. So the one time I didn't hang out with him is because I just hopped into the palace. I was like, okay, I'm getting like 10 days down. I need to start chipping away at this palace.
You got time. You got time for Maruki, especially if you're at what, 7?
Yeah, I'm in the September right now.
Okay,
so
you at least gotta get him to 8. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I'm right there. So
cool.
I'll knock it out easy. Hanging out with Akechi a lot. I'm not gonna go through all the confidants.
Love Akechi.
Yeah,
Akechi is so awesome.
I will say I've been spending some time in some bathhouses with Akechi, and
nice.
I haven't been uncomfortable with it.
Yes.
Been having a good time. Been playing some billiards. We're getting pretty close, Garrett.
Dude. Shout out to the darts minigame, dude.
Yeah, it's fun.
Not bad. Mm-hmm. I think especially coming off of a Final Fantasy VII remake where it had a decent darts minigame, this one is probably the best I've played. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially if you read the book on how to be even better at it. Man, you can bullseye just, every time you're up there, you can just kill it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And it also benefits your baton pass power as well. So it's worth going out of your way to do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Shout out to that whole area, dude. Love that new area out there. Mm-hmm. So much good stuff.
I was utilizing that a lot in Futaba's palace because for the most part, I had the same party throughout the whole palace. I changed a couple people out, but Yusuke was really low at one point, and I think I had him maxed out from the dartboard. So every time that I would baton pass to him, he would get like 4 or 5 skill points back. So I was I was abusing that every time I would baton pass right to him. Not even like if that enemy had a weakness that he could do, I would just do it so that he could get some more skill points.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's really aggravating when you like get to the point in that palace. Like this hasn't really happened to me in this playthrough, but last time I played the game, like I would get to a point in palaces where I would use all my party members and they would all be drained of skill points and I had no items left. So at that point you're just kind of like, okay, I got to leave and come back for another time. But like the one thing that I really like in Royal is that you can pretty much go through a whole palace in one go through, like unless you have to leave to do something in the real world. So yeah, I kind of enjoy that because I like knowing in my mind that I'm not wasting time in the game. Like I could be using that time to go hang out with someone else or, rank up a skill or something. So, yeah. And I don't want to go on and keep talking about the game, but that's sort of where I'm at right now in Persona 5.
Nice.
Still really enjoying it.
Man, you're getting there. You've only got like 2 or 3 more palaces.
Yeah, I think I'm about 56 hours through the game. So
yeah,
I'm well in. Really looking forward to the new stuff. That's really what's driving me right now.
Yeah.
And then this one might surprise you, but I picked up a new game this week, and it's one that you actually mentioned last podcast. And I looked into it a little bit because it kind of sounded pretty compelling to me. And
Garrett or me?
You, Preston.
Me.
And I decided to give it a whirl, and that game is called Ys 9. Monster Nox.
Oh, yeah. Did you get the demo or did you get the game?
I got the game. I bought the game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was really in a sort of JRPG, or not even JRPG, just
dude.
What would you call this? Like a hack and slash, just...
Finally. Yeah, dude. Dude, I'm just a man of culture I can talk to, finally.
And the real reason that
Garrett's like, dude, Little Nightmares 2. Guys, finally talk to a real gamer on here.
I mean, the game has its problems. I want to say that real quick, but overall, I'm really enjoying the game. It's not something that I really can sit down and play for long stints at one time, because the longer that I play the game, the more that I recognize is wrong with the game. And it's like, just compared to like all the other games that I play, it's probably has a lot smaller of a budget
for sure.
Its scale is very, not minuscule, but it's definitely focused a lot more on its characters as opposed to the environments or even the storytelling. The storytelling's not awful, but it's not its strong point. I mean, I think it's just doing enough to sort of keep you playing. But I think the real standout in this game, it's my first Ys game, so I don't have a lot of experience with anything about the series, but I love the combat. Like it's so fun. all the button presses are like they just make sense on that controller. And like I love like you have these. What's like a good comparison for it? You can like hold down R2 and then you have access to all these abilities that are on your button, like your triangle, square, circle, X buttons,
like hotkey stuff.
Basically, yeah. And you have all these like powerful attacks that you can do, and they sort of like every time you use one, it drains a gauge, and it'll naturally just recharge over time. But I haven't gotten to the point where I have party members yet. I had them once, but I couldn't control them, so I'm still just on the main guy. I can't even remember his name, so it shows how much I'm really paying attention to the story. But the main character is really cool. And I love like the flow of the game because you can sort of just sprint around all the time, and you can sort of just weave in and out of enemies. You can dodge really seamlessly, and it's just a very anime game. Like if you're into anime in any way, you're probably going to be into this game just for the simple fact that like it's just a very anime game. Like the combat's very anime. All the acting's very anime. But my main gripes are really just the environments. The town looks kind of, not that impressive. It's sort of like your basic starting town. I think you spend the whole game in this town, actually. But and I haven't even gotten to the point where you can fly, because like I think one of the characters that you unlocked, you can sort of like fly over building tops and stuff or glide. So I'm looking forward to that. But the town has like collectibles that you can sort of gather, and it's sort of like that small gameplay loop where you're just, jumping in and out of missions, going around town, going to buy things. And you're like, oh, there's a little collectible over here. I can go get it. I'll go do that real quick. And I think it gives you a reward once you clear out a whole area. Yeah, that's really all I can say about it. Preston, I think you would enjoy the game a lot. I think it's right up your alley. But I wouldn't like. Have you played a used game before?
No, dude. I haven't even. Yeah, okay. I haven't even played this game yet. I just thought it looked cool. Yeah. I have the demo, but I haven't. Mm-hmm. I was going to jump into that at some point, but I was trying to finish Tales of Berseria, finish that JRPG before I, just hop into a brand new one. Yeah. So,
but I watched some reviews before I picked the game up, and a lot of fans seem to really be interested in this game in particular, as opposed to, all the ones that came prior. So I know the last one was supposed to be really good, but
yeah. But like you said, that was kind of the main thing that interested me the most is the podcast that I was listening to where the guy brought this game up was the combat and just how fun it got once you got more and more party members, how, different enemies are weak to different things, and just that gameplay loop of, switching between, party members consistently and stuff. It just sounds like
I haven't even gotten
a good
there,
time.
So
yeah, I'm definitely think it gets, deeper the more you play it, obviously. But yeah, that's cool, man. I if you stick with it, I definitely look forward to hearing, how your thoughts and stuff evolve on it. So,
and I intend to. Anytime I get bored with Persona 5, that's sort of what I've been jumping to. If I'm not like just getting off to read or something like that. If I'm still in a video game mood. What else have I played? There was one other thing that wasn't WoW. I tried out the Resident Evil Village demo, which I think was 2 weeks ago that I tried it. Mm-hmm. I think I failed to mention it on the last podcast, but it's not really necessarily much of a gameplay demo. I mean, it is a little bit. You sort of like wander through the mansion that I'm assuming the game takes place in. Maybe a portion of the game. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, but I think you eventually get to that castle. Got to get through a village first.
Clever.
Yeah.
But it's fine. it's a demo. It was nice seeing the
it's
tall
a
lady.
Graphical showcase, I believe is what they call it.
Yeah, it's very much Resident Evil in my opinion from what I've experienced. I enjoy the first person Resident Evil. I feel like some people prefer one over the other, but I like them both. Like if we could keep having like entries in both third person and first person in the Resident Evil universe, I would very much be in support of that, because I don't know, there's just something about like 7 that really stuck with me. It might have been the VR. I don't really know. I always think about when me and Garrett played through that game for those videos, and it's making me really want to play 8. And And I sort of enjoy like the whole adventure game-esque like style of the game. Like you get to this door, oh, it's locked, so you got to go explore some other area, and hopefully you find a key. Maybe you don't. Maybe you find something else for some other part of the house.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that whole loop because it's I don't know, it's just fun. So, and I assume you guys have also played the demo at some point. I mean, I know it's a little bit old news at this point, but
yeah, I played it like the first night you could.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that was fun. Nothing really mind blowing to say there. And last but not least, I've jumped back into the world of Warcraft, and this week killed a few more heroic bosses, which is nice. I think we are 7 or 8 out of 10, so we got 2 more. Hopefully, we can knock them out this next week and be finished with the heroic raid. We'll still keep farming it and getting gear, but that's sort of like, you know, there's this achievement called Ahead of the Curve in WoW, and it comes every patch. And if you can beat the current raid on heroic difficulty before the next patch comes out, then you get the Ahead of the Curve achievement, which also comes with a mount, usually, I'm pretty sure. So just trying to, you know, see if we can achieve that as a guild. I think the guild that I'm in has pretty much always gotten it. So this will be the first time that I've been in the guild to actually achieve it. So that'll be fun. And I just started leveling up a warrior from 50 to 60. So just going through the Shadowlands content again, just sort of mindlessly listening to podcasts, you know, completing quests, running dungeons while I'm just watching videos or, you know, listen to a podcast. So just sort of mindless stuff there. But still really enjoying Shadowlands. And not a whole lot new on that front. I know we're about to get into the BlizzCon news here pretty soon, but really excited for the future of Shadowlands. So that's pretty much all I got this week, Garrett. How about you, my friend?
Dope. I played one game and watched a lot of stuff.
I watched a lot of stuff too.
I played and beat Little Nightmares 2. It was very good. I think I liked the first one more. I was talking to Preston about this. I think it's just because, although there are some very interesting mechanical ideas they implement into this one, which I'll go in depth on a little bit without spoiling, but you more or less, if you've played the first one, you like very strongly understand the formula of the first and second game. It's like you get to an area, it seems empty and creepy. There's like creepy sounds and like little minor platforming puzzles you can do. And then you discover the enemies, like NPCs that'll try to attack you. You got to deal with them. And then you're introduced to the main monster of the area and you got to sneak around them. And at the end, the monster chases you out of the area. It's like that's what you do 3 times in a row throughout this game. And what breaks up that monotony is, of course, the environments you're in are very different from each other. There are new mechanics in each area that differentiate them, that make them interesting. It's just like that core skeleton of the game is very familiar, especially after the first game. But it is like the story's vague, but also very, very interesting in the sense that you want to see what's going to happen. It also ends in a very unexplained way. I mean, I get what happened at the end of the game, but at the same time, the way in which it ties into the other game is still sort of up in the air. But I've watched a lot of theories and other videos trying to explain it, but everyone more or less is on the same page about the story of this game. So I really did enjoy it overall. I think the best chapter of the game is chapter 3. You're in a hospital, and there's a flashlight mechanic that I'm not going to spoil that I thought was very inventive. I thought it was very cool. At least I haven't experienced anything like that in a game. So it was very spooky in the hospital. And I've played plenty of hospital levels in horror games. But this one definitely stood out among many. So that was really good. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I think I did like the first one more because at the time it felt much more fresh than this one does overall. I mean, it does, like I said, there's some new ideas that are very cool, but overall it was more of the same. So enjoyed Little Nightmares 2. I do recommend it. If you haven't played the first or second one, they're totally worth playing. They're fun, like very basic platforming puzzle, spooky horror games, and there's a lot to get out of them that are really fun. Oh yeah, I did start Valheim. Preston and I started Valheim. We both roughly played like half an hour.
Nice. What are your thoughts?
It's fine. I can tell I'll have a lot more fun if I play with Preston. After my 20-minute run, I was already ready to stop. But granted, I just started. So I know there's a lot you can do in that game, but yeah, we'll probably have more to say about that once he and I can play together. But so far, I'm definitely interested. Like I did the very basic stuff at the beginning where you build a workstation and like, oh, you can't just have it out in the open. You got to put a roof over it. So to build like the worst shack you've ever seen. This is before I realized you can like hoe the ground and make it flat. So it's like the most contorted roof that somehow counts as a roof over my workbench. It's hilarious. But so far, it's cool. I can tell if I'm playing with a buddy, it'll be a lot more fun. So outside of that, I watched, I'm on a huge Batman kick again. That's actually why I was distracted from Persona. And it's HBO Max's fault because I get on there and I noticed not everything, but the vast majority of any Batman content you can imagine that's ever been created is on HBO Max right now. So I added all of them to my list, like a ton of animated movies. Of course, the animated series. I mean, Batman Beyond's on there. They have all the Dark Knight movies. They have Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. Just all of it. So I added it all to my list, which is going down my list of Batman animated movies I hadn't seen. And so far I've watched Gotham by Gaslight, which is a really cool story because it's Batman in like the 1800s and like old London, or it's old Gotham, but it's meant to be like old London, and Jack the Ripper is the main villain. There's a lot of cool twists in that animation that I didn't expect. And just that time period I always thought was cool. I know they had a Gotham by Gaslight game that was canceled, but I think on YouTube you can see like 5 minutes of gameplay that was like alpha stage of that. And I've always thought that time period was very suitable for Batman. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So enjoyed that. Animation wasn't as cool as like the main graphic of like the movie cover because it looks like it's almost hyper realistic animation, but then you go into the animation and it looks like worse than the animated series. But it was still a cool story, so I enjoyed that. And I watched Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2 because I'd still not picked up the comic. And I don't know if you call it like comic and graphic novel at this point, but I know it's one of the most highly regarded Batman stories that, weirdly enough, I have not read. So I watched the animation, and I don't know how the animation compares to the comic book, but the animation is just insane. Like I mean, it's a story that like it works. It's just there's so much wacky stuff in it, and it just goes in this. It almost feels like this. Just maybe it's just better explained in the book. Maybe the book's much longer, but condensing it into these two parts of this movie, it just felt like this story is just going all over the place. But I did like it a lot, and it was surprisingly extremely dark. I think it just threw me off because it was animated, but it was very much like R-rated animation and super brutal. But it was definitely one of the wilder, darker Batman stories I've ever seen. And Batman Bruce Wayne is just freaking relentless in this story. I was like, I mean, it's the kind of Batman I love where he's just completely outside the law. He's clearly unhinged, but what he's doing is technically justice, but he's completely going against the police force and the law. And I've always liked that version of Batman. That's just, he's as insane as his villains are. He's just doing it in a better way, or he's just trying to do the right thing. But really cool version of Batman. And Carrie Kelly, Robin, the female Robin, is introduced in Dark Knight Returns. I forgot she was introduced in Dark Knight Returns, but she's a cool character. But again, maybe it's better in the comic book, but she just comes out of nowhere in the animation and just is already extremely skilled. And Batman's like, yeah, sure, you can be my Robin. And like a matter of 2 minutes.
Sure, I'll be your boyfriend.
yeah, sure, I can be your boyfriend. But again, like cool character, but it was just out of nowhere and just so instantaneous. And I was like, sure, I guess she's Robin now. But really enjoyed watching that. It was cool. So I've seen Dark Knight Returns. I've not read the comic book. I don't know how they compare, but that was cool. And I've long had a nostalgia for Batman Forever. So I started watching it again for the first time in several years. And I've always known that movie is just completely stupid. But man, that movie is so dumb. It is unreal how dumb it is. I was just shocked that no wonder people had a poor response to this. Of course, Batman and Robin 2, that was the sequel with Clooney. But man, this one with Jim Carrey and Val Kilmer is just so bad. But that's the thing that's so weird about it, is that you can tell there's like a confliction in the script, and it had to have been studio meddling too, because they've been trying to get Robin in the live action movie since Tim Burton, and Tim Burton didn't want to do it with Batman Returns. So they finally did it after Joel Schumacher took over for Batman Forever. And I always forget that they're all technically based in the same universe. Like Batman 89, Batman Returns, Forever, and Batman and Robin are all supposed to technically be the same Batman. And Forever is such a departure from Tim Burton's style. And there's things I like about it. I'm not going to go much longer in this because it doesn't matter. But like there's so many things in the script you can tell. It's like, wow, this could be so good if they focused on this aspect, like the darker, more mature aspects of Bruce Wayne and Batman in this story, but it just goes in so many weird, wacky, and just insane directions that just ruin the entire thing. And there's so many useless, pointless scenes that are just, they don't even need to be in there. They don't advance the plot. It's just like, oh, Batman's running away from Two-Face villains for no reason. Like it doesn't advance. I hate when scenes just are meaningless. You could have shaved off like a good 30 minutes of Batman Forever, and it would have still been stupid, but it would have been a better movie if they'd shaved off a lot of the scenes. But I'm just fascinated how bad it is. And that's what's weird too, is that there are scenes because Val Kilmer's long been one of my favorite Bruce Wayne and Batman. It's one, because yes, it's nostalgic, but I also just like his portrayal. And there's so many scenes where he's excellent, but other scenes just because of the script, he acts like a complete fool. I'm like, it's like two different people in the movie. It's just, it annoys me because I love Batman, and like I was heavily analyzing Batman Forever last night in 2021. It was still bothering me, but I still love that movie because as a kid, it was like everything to me. Yeah. But yeah, been on a huge Batman kick to the point where I do have Arkham City still. I'm like, man, I started that. I played through Asylum not long ago. I almost want to just jump back in City and mess around again because I love me some Batman, man. And because of HBO Max, I'm back on my Batman fix.
Did you ever get the Spider-Man Miles Morales Platinum?
I did, yeah.
Oh, you did?
That was a while ago.
Okay.
So I'm probably going to get the Little Nightmares Platinum too. It's pretty easy. I'm just nicking away at the tedious aspects of some of the trophies. So
Sure.
Doing that, but that is all I've been watching and playing, gentlemen. So
nice, dude.
All that being said, you guys want to jump into the news?
I want to mention that I have been watching WandaVision. And
me too, man. It's really good.
Through 5 episodes, and it's pretty good.
Oh, so you're not caught up yet?
No, I think there's 6 or 7. So
I think episode 6 was this past Friday.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I don't know. It's fine. I'm not like crazy about it.
This is what's interesting, Jacob. I had that same response you're having right now and honestly, this is kind of annoying. You do have to do this. It actually requires a bit of homework. I had to watch breakdowns of these episodes because I'm like, am I missing something? Because people are raving about this stuff. I'm like, I have to be missing something. And then when I watch breakdowns, there are so many hidden meanings and Easter eggs that are plastered throughout every episode that make it 10 times more interesting if you know what you're seeing. But because I have no history with Scarlet Witch or Vision or the villains they encounter throughout their original comics, it's like going all completely over my head.
The villains they encounter.
Right, yeah. And it's like this whole time they've been revealing all this cool stuff and interesting plot points about characters, and like the whole time I'm like, oh yeah, this is good, but like cool, whatever. But when I watch these breakdowns, I'm like, holy crap, that episode was 10 times better than I thought it was. So that's what's kind of interesting about it to me. But I look forward to the conclusion because especially last week's episode, the more recent episode, is a reveal everyone saw coming, but it's still cool. So solid show. I've enjoyed it. Apparently it's the most popular show on the planet right now, which is wild. I read that somewhere, yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
I guess that makes sense. I can't think of any other shows that are, then again, it is Marvel Studios.
I
can't think of any other shows that are at that level of popularity that are out right now.
Just Attack on Titan. It's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, but that's also like, anime in and of itself is not.
I mean, it's pretty popular.
It's extremely popular, but not like mainstream popular to the point of like Marvel Studios.
Speaking of which, there's a new episode tonight of Attack on Titan, or today.
Today's Saturday, I think, isn't it? Oh, today's
Sunday.
Dang, dude, I cannot keep track of the time. You're right. I'm excited for that. Dude, the last 2 episodes have bored me to the brink of insanity. I'm going to be honest.
The last one wasn't the best, but it's still a good story development.
Yeah, I get it. It's like we're developing the story, but at this point, I'm like, dude, let's get to the freaking Titan action. Like, I'm tired of just sitting around talking all day. So it is necessary. I appreciate good dialogue and storytelling, but it's not blown my mind because they haven't really revealed anything that's that interesting, to be honest.
Yeah.
But everything leading up to these past 2 episodes has been outstanding.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to see
it'll
where it
undoubtedly pick up and be awesome again. I'm confident of that.
Sure.
But right now, I'm a little especially because I'm used to binging Attack on Titan. So if I'm bored with an episode, I just jump onto the next. They just keep going. But waiting every week, and you wait a full week, you're like, oh, what's going to happen this week? And it's not that exciting. It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah. It ebbs and flows, in terms of what's happening, but I'm enjoying it a lot.
For sure. I guess I should mention this. I also watched a few Ghibli films. I watched.
Oh, really?
Let me see if I can remember. I've watched a lot of them. Spirited Away, outstanding. Kiki's Delivery Service, adorable. My Neighbor Totoro, also adorable. Princess Mononoke shocked me how brutal it was, but I also really enjoyed that. It was gorgeously animated. And there's a fourth one I watched. I just can't remember what it was. Can't remember. But all that stuff's on HBO Max as well, so I've been nicking away at those. And very beautiful. I think Spirited Away is probably my favorite so far. But Princess Mononoke is up there too. That was outstanding.
Gotcha. So
it just shocked me to see this. It was funny too, because I watched all these adorable Ghibli films that are just so innocent and pure and sweet and cute. And I mean, there's a few dark elements in Spirited Away, but for the most part, all of the movies I'd watched prior to Princess were very adorable and sweet. And then I go into Princess Mononoke and guys are getting like their heads and arms blown off in like the first 2 minutes. I'm like, what is this? It was completely shocking to me. Not that I was uncomfortable, that it shocked me because all those other movies were just so sweet and childish. So it was intense, but beautiful movies. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm upset that I didn't go to like Ghibli Fest when they were in theaters, because I had considered that when it was out. I just didn't end up going, but that would have been really cool to see movies like Spirited Away on the big screen.
I've never tried one of those movies.
Man, they're awesome. And that's what's cool about great. HBO Max. You can choose to watch in English or Japanese. So I switched back and forth between a couple of them. I landed on English because I do believe the English voice acting in most of the movies I've seen, especially Spirited Away, is outstanding. But you can watch in Japanese or English. So
gotcha. Maybe one day I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Is that everything, boys? You guys want to move on to the news?
Yes.
Dope, dude. Jacob, since you're the resident Blizzard fan, Activision Blizzard fan.
Just Blizzard.
Would you like to walk us through some of this BlizzCon online news?
I would love to. I try to pretend that the Activision side doesn't exist, but it's becoming harder and harder.
Everything at Blizzard.
Yeah, it's becoming harder and harder nowadays with their influence over my
just wait until like Blizzard. Call of Duty DLC shows up in World of Warcraft, like Call of Duty skins.
I will throw.
What's that guy's name from Black Ops? Like Agent Rex or something?
I don't know a single person from Black Ops.
Yeah.
Or any Call of Duty for that.
Dress up as him. Your orc is Agent Rex from Call of Duty. I can't remember his name.
Don't even give him that idea. So BlizzConline, let's call it, happened this week, and there were a few cool announcements. Overall, I would say it was a little. It was sort of a less impressive year for announcements in terms of what they usually have at a show. But it doesn't mean there weren't things that I got excited about. First and foremost, the 9.1 patch for Shadowlands, which is the first major content update, will be called Chains of Domination. It's basically
Chains of Domination.
Oh yeah. It's has a lot to do with
kind
chains.
Of a suggestive title.
Yeah, it is a little bit. So you guys don't really care, but without spoiling too much, the Alliance King, my king, was captured by the Jailer, which is the
big king.
He's the big baddie in this expansion, the Jailer. And he so Garrett, you've heard of the Lich King, right?
I have heard of the Lich King.
He's one of the most infamous villains from Warcraft. So basically the Jailer is responsible for taking control of that guy's name is Arthas, the Lich King. And he sort of donned the helm on him and found a way to give him Frostmourne, which is his weapon that sort of controlled his mind and made him do things that he didn't know he was doing. So that's sort of what's happening with Anduin now. He was jailed by the Jailer, and now he's sort of taking control of his body, and he's doing things on behalf of the Jailer. So it's kind of cool seeing how they sort of like are relating to each other, him and Arthas, like Anduin and Arthas, and just how the story's kind of developing from there, because a lot of interesting stuff's going on, but you probably wouldn't care too much if you're not really into the whole Warcraft lore universe. But a lot of cool updates are coming. A new area within the mall, which is one of the new zones. A brand new raid, 10 bosses. Brand new mega dungeon, which is, we've had mega dungeons in the past, but basically a mega dungeon is just a dungeon but has more bosses, and it's longer than a regular dungeon would be. And it's based off the brokers, which are some like mysterious treasure hunters within the Shadowlands, which is really cool. There's going to be new updates to Torghast, which is like basically the endless, or it's not endless, but it was supposed to be endless, like tower. It's like a roguelike tower where you're crawling through, upgrading, you're finding new powers within the tower that are upgrading your character, and then you're going to floors that are harder and harder, and then you get stronger and stronger, and then you just start to melt things at one point because you're just so powerful. But that all goes away once you leave the tower. It's just sort of like its own little experience within itself. And those are really the main things in the for Warcraft. There's going to be a smaller patch that's called 9.05 that's coming out in March. But I think they're just putting that patch out because 9.1 isn't quite ready yet, because we haven't gotten any release date or any indication of when it would be coming out. So I would have to guess it's probably like late spring, maybe. So maybe May, which is kind of unfortunate, but you know, we have things to do. Switching over to Diablo 4, a brand new class was announced, the Rogue, which is really exciting for me. I know the Rogue was in D1, so it's been a little while. It might have been in D2. I can't quite remember. I don't think it was. I'm not sure. Maybe one of you guys can look it up for me real quick. But I don't know if you guys saw the gameplay trailer for the Rogue in D4, but it looks pretty fun. She can use daggers, swords, bows, and crossbows, and you can switch seamlessly from like range to melee attacks, which is really cool. And then she's obviously, as a dexterity character, she can move around very, swiftly, and she can coordinate a lot of interesting and different attacks just based on where she's positioned, or even like elevation. I think you can jump down from things and just like rain arrows over people as you like roll, and you can like dash to the side, and like she just has all these ways to sort of maneuver around enemies, and just it's not necessarily the most flashy gameplay. Like it's not like a wizard like calling down ice and fire and lightning and stuff like that, but it's more of just like being very agile and using weapons smartly. And it was I highly recommend anyone watch the video for the Rogue D4, because it was very compelling and it looked really, really fun, and got me even more excited to play that game, which unfortunately we still don't have a release date for, which is no surprise to anyone. It's obviously they're still just developing the game, making classes. Like this is the 4th class I think they've confirmed, and I'm sort of predicting that they'll announce at least one more before they actually launch the game, which I'm hoping it'll be sometime in 2022. I mean, I would really like that and Overwatch 2 to come out, because neither are confirmed to come out this year. And I miss my Blizzard games, man. And speaking of Overwatch 2, they sort of just showed some behind the scenes of what happened, or not what happened, the development of Overwatch 2. And they confirmed that there's not going to be any more 2CP maps in like the standard gameplay modes, which is, I'm trying to remember what 2CP was. So I think it was the maps where you had to capture 1 point. Garrett, do you remember Volskaya Industries, the one in Russia? It's like a sort of a snowy map, but you had to capture 1 point, and then you had to capture a second point, which was closer to the enemy spawn. Yeah. So apparently, like that gameplay style, I don't remember because I haven't played in a really long time. Yeah, they're scrapping it because it was a big, heartache for the community. Like it was hard to balance, and apparently, like a lot of the games sometimes
just like the entirety of Overwatch, they've just struggled to balance it.
Exactly. Yeah, they've really struggled to put it in a place where people are enjoying it. So they're not like completely scrapping it. They're going to keep it in like an arcade mode, but it's not going to be a part of like the main rotation for like quick play or competitive or anything like that. So that made a lot of people happy, and I think they just mainly spent some time showing off new assets, new maps. They announced a map for New York City and Rome, which is cool. And New York City looked really cool. There were like a bunch of like banks that were sort of very much in the New York-esque of aesthetic, and then all the cars were like, there was traffic in the sky because all the cars were flying now. There's like nothing on the streets; it's just flying cars, which is cool. But I mean, we've seen other Overwatch maps. Like you're familiar with like the aesthetic of, you know, how those maps look. So it's sort of the same thing, just sort of adapted to how we think of New York or Rome. Like Rome is a little more stylized. It's a little more. They use the word romantic, and it sort of has like it almost. I guess it doesn't look like France per se, but it sort of has like that mystique to it. Like it's just very pretty to look at. Those are the main things I think for Overwatch 2, because they're still chipping away at developing that game. And the one thing they kept mentioning is that they really want to make it seem like a sequel. So I think that was something that people really enjoyed hearing, because people have been speculating about what that game really is supposed to be. And I know we've mentioned it a couple times here.
I know they talked about too something about making the shooting feel a little more. What did they say about like the shooting feels a little different? It sounded like it was a positive thing. I just can't remember what they said.
I don't know if I picked up on that one.
Yeah, something about they improved like the shooting or something to make it feel better. And even technical aspects I appreciate in any game. Just they said the sound design is different depending on the environment. When you fire your weapon, that's cool. Yeah, that's stuff that like I do notice in every game I play. I just really appreciate technical aspects like that. I think the most notable announcement from Overwatch 2 is certainly the new skins for a lot of these characters, as they are very clearly night and day from Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2, and have generated just the very best memes I've seen in the last few days for sure. So I've appreciated those. But no, I very much look forward to Overwatch 2, because I do still have a heart for the first one, although we have not played it. We talked about, before we even started this podcast, we intend to play it today, and I mean that from the depths of my soul, Jacob. And Preston, I'd love if you can be there miraculously too with your download speed. I would love to play Overwatch later today with you, because that is just on my heart and it's on my mind, especially after BlizzCon. Let's freaking do it, dude.
It's fun, man.
It's high noon.
It is indeed. Actually, it almost is high noon.
GG.
I will download it.
Yes. I want to get me some Soldier 76 action. I want to get me some May action. I want to get me some Mercy action. I'm a good Mercy.
Mercy's so boring.
She's boring, but like I'm a really good healer with Mercy.
Okay. Well, I might have to play some tanks. I have a feeling that no one's going to want to play tanks, so that's what I'm going to be playing.
Diva's a great tank.
She is good. Yeah. I kind of want to play Reinhardt for some reason. I just want to hold a shield.
I like Roadhog.
Roadhog's awesome. They nerfed his shotgun a bit, but he's still pretty good. At least the last time I played, which has been a long time. I don't know if they've rebalanced him since then, but
yeah, they nerfed him like 2 years ago.
I forgot that's Roadhog's catchphrase. Who's that guy with like the wheel that explodes?
That's Junkrat.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with Junkrat too.
Yeah, it's hard not to be. He just lobs grenades.
The last time I played, Sombra was the new hero. There's been
it's been a while.
55 new players added.
Yeah,
I think she was she the first one? No.
Who was the healer sniper?
Oh, it's Anna.
Was she after or before
the old
Sombra?
lady?
She was the first one, I think.
Okay, then I think Sombra was the last person, or the newest person I played as.
Gotcha. I think she was the second one, Sombra.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Overwatch 2 coming. Who knows? But those are the main things that stuck out to me. There's a new Hearthstone expansion, and
I really enjoyed that for the time I played it.
I almost forgot. Burning Crusade Classic was announced, which is basically anyone that played through Classic can transfer their character over to a Burning Crusade server. Burning Crusade is the first expansion for World of Warcraft, so people will be able to re-experience that in its entirety. There's going to be a few new changes that the devs are going to be making just to make it a better experience for today's modern age. But overall, it's going to be the same experience, and you can also just buy or just jump into it and boost a character to 58, which will be what you need to jump into the new expansion. So it'll be fun for people that want to play more classic. Burning Crusade is often looked at as the sort of the most hardcore WoW ever was in terms of its not difficulty maybe, but just sort of what it required to participate in the in-game content. There was a lot of lockouts in terms of what you needed to do to unlock certain raids or dungeons, and And then there's a little bit of challenge in some of those bosses too. So, I mean, maybe it won't be challenging nowadays for, how people play games now, but we'll see. But I don't think that I will personally be playing Burning Crusade Classic. I fell out of Classic pretty early, and I definitely can't maintain more than one MMO. I struggle to even maintain what I do now. So, but I'm very much looking forward to Shadowlands. What we got in store here later this year, because God, I love that expansion so much. I'm having so much fun still.
I'm glad to hear that, Jacob.
Yep.
I think it's safe to say we're all pretty excited about Diablo 2 Resurrected.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very excited
yes.
to experience that. I thought the announcement trailer was great too. Showing the old gameplay versus the new.
Yeah,
and it looks
Vicarious
like
Visions has been busy.
Oh yeah,
that game looks like it's almost done.
Yeah, it looks like mechanically it almost like functions the exact same way. It's just very clearly up-resed and up-resed, but like completely remade in the sense that like mechanically it's the same, almost like Tony Hawk to a T. Yeah. It's like it plays exactly the same, but it just looks 10 times better, sounds better. So I'm very excited to experience that. That will perfectly hold us over to 4. Hopefully 4 is like early next year, maybe like halfway through next year. With our luck, it'll be like holiday 2022 or something. But very stoked to play Resurrected.
My favorite part is that it's cross progression. So if I bought the game twice, I could buy it on like PS5 and my PC. Then I can play with different people on each platform. I think that's awesome. I don't think it's cross play, which is a little unfortunate.
Can we make the executive decision to go PC on this one? I know Preston made a good point. Like it'd be pretty sweet on Switch too.
Dude, if it's cross save, if you got it on PC and Switch, you could, chill with the bros on PC. Then if you got a flight or something, anything you have to travel for, you can.
Dude, that's what Immortal's for. That's what Immortal's for.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll probably play Immortal. I'm sure it's gonna be fine.
No, because I never got to experience. I mean, I played 60 FPS Diablo 3 on PS4 when it finally came out, but I never got to experience Diablo 3 on PC. I mean, I could obviously at any moment, but I'd love to play a just beautiful looking Diablo game, high frame rate on PC.
Friday night when the Diablo 4 trailer launched, I was this close to downloading Diablo 3 again. Like I almost did it. Dude. Like I was so in. Like I was just, oh my gosh, like I missed that loop so much.
Yeah. I remember how jealous I felt when Diablo 3 first came out. I played it on my old, like 2013 MacBook Pro and ran at like 15, 16 frames a second. It felt like probably max of like literally 25 frames a second. Lowest settings. But next we had all these like parties at John Lowe's house. We'd go over there and be like, you remember this? We'd all go over there and all of us would be there. Like all 8 of us would be playing. And his brother, dude, had that high-end PC, and it was just, I don't know if it was 4K at the time, but it was like very crisp, 1080p, easily over 100 frames a second, and it looked insane compared to mine, and I was so jealous. Yeah. But I played the entirety of Diablo 3 in that crappy laptop.
Yeah, I had a MacBook as well back then, and I would bring it over, and my laptop could run the game much better than yours could. So I could at least play the game and use my abilities.
My laptop's screen was broken, so I had to output the video to some crappy monitor via like a VGA cable, and then I had like a one of Garrett's drum pads as my mouse pad. Yeah, it was a practice
drum pad that uses a mouse pad.
Oh my god!
And I played the crap out of Diablo on that piece of crap. So
I know we always mention this, but those nights when we would, or days even when we played at our kitchen table.
Yeah, had our tavern nights.
Like I loved that so much.
Yeah. We had one of those dimmable chandeliers. We dim it down to like tavern candlelight and play Diablo for like 5 hours a night. So much fun.
I think I skipped work an entire week and just played Diablo.
Gosh, dude. I think we could have done 4 and 2 together if you guys could have moved in with me. Maybe in another life. Maybe in another couple years.
Maybe sooner than then.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, I do miss that too. It was so much fun.
Enough of BlizzCon though. What we got next?
Jump into old Nintendo?
Sure.
Can we start with golf? Because I got to dump my brains out, dude. And it's one of those situations where I can't hold it till the end, unfortunately. So I really want to talk about golf. Maybe a couple other things.
Okay.
Honestly, all I can say is that I'm really excited. I said on Discord, it's like, it's the weirdest thing. Anything Mario related, I'm going to play. I still need to.
Mm-hmm.
I started Galaxy. I meant to say that. I started Galaxy this past week. Played like an hour of it. Super fun.
That's awesome.
I will eventually beat that, of course. I owe it to myself to play 3D Worlds at some point too. But anything Mario sports related, of course, Mario Kart naturally. But I love tennis and now golf. I haven't played a Mario Golf game in the past, so I am very much looking forward to this. It's just bizarre because I can give or take most sports and racing games. I appreciate them, especially when they look beautiful and run well. Like I've certainly enjoyed them to an extent in the past, but they just don't compare to Mario sports and racing games. They're just the best. Mm-hmm. So I really look forward to playing with both the community and you guys working on our golf swing in Mario.
Oh yeah. Are you going to play with your controller, or are you going to actually stand up and swing like a golf
I'll
club?
be a controller guy for sure. I don't have the energy to stand up and play golf in my living room. But
I wonder how intuitive it is.
Yeah, it is a nice feature for sure.
That story mode looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. I thought it looked cool too. What do you guys feel about the what is it, the rush mode?
Or the
sprinting to your
speed
ball?
golf mode? That definitely looks like a interesting, fun take on just regular golf.
Honestly, that's the way we fix the sport in real life too. That we make it more interesting to watch.
That would be interesting.
I have such a reverence for golf, dude. I'm just so bad at it.
Have you tried playing it? Like
I
seriously?
have. I've played multiple times. Yeah. Okay. I'm half decent at top golf, but dude, get me on a course. That's the thing about golf too. It's just deceivingly exhausting. Like especially out in the blazing sun, just like swinging a club for like 18 holes. By the end of it, dude, I'm dead.
Golf requires dedication. It's not just something you can just jump into even for a few times and like be average at it. Like you have got to like consistently practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the game looks fun.
Yes.
I'm definitely gonna pick it up.
For sure.
I feel like a lot of people wanted Mario Golf too, so I feel like a lot of people
It's been
a
very long time. I think the last console release was the game Toadstool Tour, I believe. So it has been a very long time.
Yeah.
The only Mario Golf that I have ever played was on the Game Boy Advance. And actually, I might have played one on the N64. Yeah, I did. I played the N64 golf. So it's been a while. And I have played Tiger Woods golf on the Wii. So I got a little bit of experience, I'm ready to swing some imaginary clubs.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Cool. Well,
what else happened?
That was one of the... You don't watch
that link has everything on it if you need to reference it.
Oh,
I'll be back.
Bring it up, Jacob.
Good luck, Garrett. All right, I'm bringing it up now.
So you did not watch this Nintendo Direct?
I did not at all.
I did not either because I was at work at the time. I mean, I watched it like highlights after. Like I went through it, but I didn't watch it live when it, came out.
I feel you.
Well, okay, kind of. I kept up with Twitter updates live, so I saw stuff, being announced. But anyways, I know it's been kind of like a debate with a lot of people, a lot of channels, a lot of Twitter threads and stuff about if it was disappointing or not. So after seeing kind of all that was announced, just overall, were you kind of disappointed with the first Nintendo Direct in like the past 500 something days? Were you left a little underwhelmed?
I don't know, honestly. So there was one thing that I was excited about, but overall I felt like it was a little lackluster. If you don't like Zelda, then I think maybe you're kind of disappointed from this.
Even then, people are disappointed. I mean, I went into this fully like expecting Skyward Sword HD to be announced, but also a collection of games, either whether it being Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, ported over from the Wii U versions over to Switch, and not seeing that was kind of disappointing to me. I mean,
you seem pretty sure that there was going to be some sort of 35th anniversary.
I still think those games are going to be ported. My mind would just be blown if at some point those games don't eventually make it over to the Switch. It would make no sense. It would absolutely make no sense for at least Wind Waker and Twilight Princess to come over. But anyways, I like Skyward Sword. I know that's a very divisive Zelda game. I recently started a Skyward Sword playthrough a few months ago and was having a ton of fun with it. Which obviously now I'm going to, not that I was planning on jumping back into the Wii version of it anytime soon, but if I were still playing it, I probably would put it on hold just to play the Switch version.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
I want
that's
to say
pretty...
I'm definitely excited about Skyward Sword. Like,
yeah,
this is going to be a great opportunity for me to finally play, this game. I've heard a lot of great things from you. Like, I heard a lot of, like you've mentioned that people kind of look kind of down upon this game, but I definitely trust you more than anyone else when it comes to Zelda.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's not my favorite Zelda game at all.
Sure. Yeah.
It does. I think it's extremely linear, and I was reminded of that playing it again. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I think it ultimately comes down to if the motion controls worked for you or not, and they for the most part worked for me, so I never had any frustration with the sword combat or using any of the the tools that you got or whatever. So I do think it comes down to that, but like I said, it is a very linear Zelda game, but I do think the story's very good. It technically is the first Zelda game in the timeline, so it shows how the Master Sword was created. I like the way that I like Zelda in this game a whole lot. Impa's really cool. Just the story as a whole is very cool in this game, and I think if you haven't at least given this game a shot, and like Zelda, I definitely think it's worth it to try it out, and especially with them adding the new control style, I'm very interested to see how well that works, because I know we've brought up porting this game over to the Switch in the past, and that was the thing that that kept coming up, and the thing that confused me the most is how they were going to make this game playable in a handheld, in the handheld way. So I'm very interested to see how well it works, or if it's just there just because it has to be there, and still the best way to play it is with the motion controls. Yeah. So I guess we'll see. They did it.
We will. Yeah.
Yeah, they did it. I think the only way possible was to map the sword to the analog stick. I don't see any other way they could have done it. Because it's not like they could have just turned this game into a regular Zelda game where you're just pushing a button to attack, because that's not what this game is. It would be a completely different game. So,
interesting.
So yeah, we'll see. Want those Joy-Cons really bad.
Oh yeah,
and they have sold out. The only place that's put them up for pre-order, I think, is GameStop, and they're already sold out. So, of course, scalpers just are not going to help themselves with these things either, which really sucks. So, I hopefully can get a pair of these things.
I wish you luck.
Thank you, Sai. Yeah, they look so freaking cool. But what do you feel about this? I've seen this point, being brought up, but they originally when Skyward Sword came out, they sold the game with a gold Wii remote for $60, and now they're selling the HD up-res of this game for $60, and then the Joy-Cons for like $70. Yeah. So it's almost doubling the price of this game that's like a decade old. But I do think that is I don't know, it kind of is what it is, but it's kind of funny when you see it laid out like that. Are you hearing dogs bark on your end?
I am.
All right, hang on 1 second.
Oh, it's you. Okay. I guess I can sort of talk about things while they are gone, my fellow podcast listeners. But so obviously I haven't played Skyward Sword before, so that's mainly why I'm really looking forward to this game. But it was a little disappointing that we didn't see anything for Breath of the Wild 2. That's mainly what I'm really disappointed in. But going back to the controller, it's just a different time, I think. Like Nintendo can get away with something like that more nowadays, I feel like. And like back then, like people weren't buying Wii remotes. I don't really feel like maybe they were, but I feel like the controller game is much more lucrative now. Maybe I'm wrong. What are your opinions on that, Preston? like obviously you're disappointed that the Joy-Cons are $70 and you can't find them. You had brought up that they were $70. Like you mentioned with the original Skyward Sword that it came with a gold Wii remote and the game was $60. And now the game's coming out again, the remaster on Switch. That's also $60, but it has a $70 Joy-Con bundle. Yeah. So you basically just asked me how I felt about that. And it's kind of crappy, but it's also kind of just how things are now. So, and I'm not personally someone that wants those. I know you're much different than me in terms of when it comes to Zelda. Yeah. And those are very valuable to you. I mean, so I can see why you would be upset.
My thoughts on it are, Wii remotes were never necessarily expensive. I think they were like always $20 or $30. Whereas, the Joy-Cons have, always been expensive. So I think that would have been a little, I don't want to say crazy, but I would have never expected them to give away a brand new pair of Joy-Cons with this game. I don't think they were going to do that. I don't know if Nintendo has just changed or whatever, but it would have been cool to have like $100 set where they were together just to save like some money because, this is just what Nintendo does. They port old ass games and they charge you $60 for them. It's just kind of is what it is. At least with the Wii U games, it's like for instance, Super Mario 3D World, it got re-released. It's a newer game, it's from the Wii U and it comes with Bowser's Fury, which is, a couple of hours of almost like a brand new title for the most part. Whereas this is a Wii game. Like this is a really old game and that you can actually buy on Nintendo's virtual console or eShop, whatever it is, on the Wii U right now for $20. And, just because they're porting it to Switch and it's going to be, HD, they're going to triple the price of it. So I'm contributing to the issue if you perceive this as an issue because I'm, definitely going to buy this, without even thinking about it. But it's just what Nintendo does, and they do it because people buy it.
Yeah.
So just
I don't really know the answer to it.
Yeah.
The answer is to not buy it, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And what sucks even more is the price of this thing isn't ever going to go down either. Like it's going to be like at, maybe in several years, it'll be down to like $40. I think Breath of the Wild, like very rarely goes on sale and it's like at least $45. Nintendo games hold their value because people buy the crap out of them. So
do they hold their value though, or do they just make them hold their value because they never drop them?
Even GameStop, like if you go buy a Mario game used, they're still like $30, $40. Yeah. And the reason GameStop has them marked that high is because people will buy them marked that high. So I do think there is just value to Nintendo games.
I think it just starts with Nintendo though, because like if they never themselves discount their games, then everyone else can't. That's like GameStop can't reduce their prices because they're just going to start losing money on Nintendo titles.
If they just, GameStop's prices, they come from like how many copies of a certain game that they have, what is the demand for them and stuff.
Sure.
So typically if a used GameStop game is very high, it's either a brand new release or they don't have a lot of copies of it or the demand is really high. Like for instance, like Xenoblade on the Wii, they were charging like $80 for that game because there weren't a lot of copies and people wanted it. So they could charge $80 for it and sell them. So yeah, there's a lot of things that come into like how they price those games. But I think there is a reason why, Mario titles and Zelda titles are, never dirt cheap.
Sure.
It's because people want them.
Yeah. Us being among them is what I meant to say. Garrett, what are your thoughts on Skyward Sword HD? Are you going to be picking that up?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, probably not.
Why
You've
is
been
that?
begging for Zelda Switch games.
That's like the one I have the least interest in for some reason.
Okay.
I mean, I might play it if like the hype picks up at the time. I might buy into the hype, but right now, I'm not
why
interested.
why does Skyward Sword not tickle your fancy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's going on, Garrett?
It just doesn't. Sometimes I don't have an explanation why things do and do not interest me.
I understand.
I might be able to better explain that if I look into it more, but I might play it.
I think you should try to play it because it is it is a Zelda game at its heart, and I know that you enjoy that formula.
Do you have to play with motion controls?
No.
Okay, yeah, I'll probably play it then.
They, announced at the event that you can play it in handheld mode with no motion controls.
Sweet. I'll probably play it then.
How good are those controls? We don't know. We were actually discussing that while you're away. That's what I'm very interested to see if they're kind of just there because they have to be there, and the best way to play is with motion controls, or if they actually could be just like a great substitute to it. So I guess we'll just have to find out with that, because motion controls are at the very core of this game. This game was specifically built around the Wii Motion Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And when it works, and when I played it, it worked 90% of the time for me. It is very cool and very fun.
Nice.
So
Which,
definitely, I would recommend trying it out or listening to how the controls are before it comes out, because story, dungeons, all that stuff is excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I really am. And that's not even really knowing anything about it. I just know that I need more Zelda right now.
I hear you. Don't we all?
What do you guys think about the new Smash edition? Any thoughts at all with Pyra, and I think her alter ego's name is Mithra or something?
Yeah, Mithra
from Xenoblade 2.
It's fine.
I thought it was
I would
cool.
have. I mean, I enjoy Xenoblade. One thing that did stand out to me is I forgot how just awesome the fight theme to that game is when they were playing it. I was like, man, dude, like this song freaking rocks.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. It makes sense. I just, I'm always hyped for the Smash Brothers characters that just come out of nowhere, and I feel like this is one that just makes sense.
Yeah,
so it's not as
another sword character,
Yeah. Sword waifu.
She obviously looks.
She's literally. What's funny is she literally is a sword.
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny.
Yep. But yeah, that's cool. I guess. Not a big Smash player myself, but I guess it's always good that they're getting more characters. I'm looking through our notes here to see if we want to mention anything else. We got Splatoon 3 coming out. That was announced, so that's cool, I guess.
That looked interesting. It a lot of people are making comments of how much better it looked compared to the first two, which is maybe like the Switch Pro is happening. Like it is. I read something the other night about how just some guy was saying how it's going to be like a PS4 with DLSS on it, just to kind of get an up-res 4K picture. So people were speculating that, oh man, was this Splatoon on that console, which is why it looks so much better? Who knows? But I never have even played a Splatoon game, but this one looked cool.
Yep.
So I mean, they all look interesting to me, but they're typically more of a multiplayer centered game, which I am definitely would be more interested in the single player campaign of these games, which I have heard is good as well. So I don't know. Maybe this will be the one that brings me in. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Got a new something called Project Triangle Strategy, which is looks like a cross between Octopath Traveler, Fire Emblem, and Final Fantasy Tactics, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like that team's version of a Final Fantasy Tactics game, which is just my brain cannot play those games. I'm too stupid. I'm too stupid and lose interest too fast. But
I hear you.
I love that art style.
I understand. Yeah, I
hope they keep the name.
And I love the art in Octopath, most certainly. But I've always been interested in Final Fantasy Tactics, so this might be something that I keep my eye on. But I really
hope they keep the name. kind of like
Yeah.
how they did Octopath Traveler.
I hated Octopath Traveler's name.
I know
really
they're
did.
just it's like this studio. I hope they just intentionally just have the worst names for their games ever.
The studio that has the worst names.
Yeah.
What's this? Animal Crossing Super Mario Bros. What is this?
Yeah, it's just an update adding just a ton
Oh.
of Mario items into Animal Crossing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's based on the little trailer they showed. It's you can essentially turn your entire island into like a Mario level. Like there's warp pipes that actually surprised me the most is that you can essentially make fast travel locations on your island now with these warp pipes,
That's
which
actually
is
really cool.
yeah, like that's the first Animal Crossing like update thing I've seen that could drastically change something with the game, like gameplay wise. It's not just just a cosmetic item that you can just throw a warp pipe on the ground, which that's cool in itself. But for it to actually have like a function that can help out a ton, I think that's really rad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just to like throw one behind your house and just every morning you have to go into town, just jump in the pipe behind your house and you automatically are right next to the store or something. I think that's pretty cool.
There it is. Yeah. Hades is coming to the Switch. That's cool.
Well, physical. It's already on Switch, but
Oh.
physical release.
So that might be something I actually pick up. Like any game that I get for the Switch, I have to get a physical copy for. I don't know why. I just really like the cases.
Okay.
But I don't do that with like PlayStation anymore. It's only
Hades
Switch.
is probably one of the best podcast games to ever exist.
It has a pretty good narrative though, does it not?
It does, but it's like it comes at the beginning of your runs. So you can
Mhm.
kind of, once you read through all that, kind of get ready. And then once you kind of like enter the dungeon again, it's podcast time.
Yeah.
So
Nice, dude. Well, I didn't see anything else that was too prominent in those notes for the direct, but
No More Heroes 3. They showed some gameplay for that, which that is a series of games that I have wanted to try for the longest time. And the second they go on a like reasonable sale on the eShop, I'm totally going to pick up 1 and 2 on the Switch. But they look, like super fun, just wacky games, just insanely over the top, and I've always heard, fantastic things about them. So
Yeah.
definitely want to try it out.
let us know if you do,
For sure.
because I don't really know anything about them.
Yeah, you play as an assassin with a beam katana, and it's like I think the whole point of the first game is you're just like taking down all these other assassins, and it's just like over the top boss fights. And I think the way you save in the first game is you go to the bathroom and you like take a dump. That's how you save. So it's
That's
just,
how I save in real life.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, just really crazy, wacky, over the top story, fun gameplay. Yeah, it looks cool.
Nice. Is that all we want to say about the direct, boys?
I think so. Just I know there's just like a lot of small things sprinkled throughout, but yeah, I kind of wish there was more of like a bang. I know Splatoon 3 was kind of like that's the way they ended it, but I wish we had gotten some Breath of the Wild 2 info, but at least they said kind of towards the end of this year we'll be getting some more stuff. And Metroid Prime 4 has I saw somebody say it's turned into Elden Ring. It is just gone missing. Nobody knows about that game.
Yeah. I'm disappointed by that a lot. I really wanted to play a Metroid game soon.
Yeah. If there's a game that besides Breath of the Wild 2 that I need a Switch Pro for, it is Metroid Prime 4. I need Switch Pro for that and Breath of the Wild 2 100%.
My Switch, I think I mentioned this last podcast, but it has been criminally underused this last year. Like from this point last year till now, I think I've maybe played 1 game on it. Maybe.
Same here.
Like it's
And
just
it's,
not being used.
It's Hyrule or Age of Calamity, and I put that in, and like I said, it's so fun, but I'm playing a PlayStation 2 game. Like this hardware is so old compared to my PC and PlayStation. It's just I've got to get a revised version of this thing.
Yeah, I think I played Mario 64. That was what I played. And it was
Nice.
fun. I keep saying I need to go back to it, but I never do.
Old ass game on old ass hardware.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, I need to go back to Galaxy and Sunshine as well.
What's our next story, Garrett?
Rift Apart, June 11th. Perfect summer game, just like we said.
That is a good time for that game. I'm excited.
Mhm.
Yep.
Very,
I'm
very
very
excited.
excited.
So
Man,
cannot wait.
Insomniac's just killing it. They,
They are.
they put out. They're the only first party studio to put out 2 PS5 games so far.
Yeah.
Or any PS first. How do I completely messed up what I'm saying. They're the only first party studio to put out PS5 games, period. And they, would have already put out 2.
Yeah. Interesting.
So that is kind of wild.
Is Miles Morales a full game, though? Like, do you consider that a full game?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's short, but
I mean, it's a game.
it's a full game.
You can go buy it by itself, so it's a game.
Yeah, it's a full story. And just enough new content to make it its own thing, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just long enough of a story.
I do
Yeah.
too. I really like Miles Morales.
Same.
But yeah, Rift Apart's going to be a lot of fun. I really hope it's good.
Oh,
I'm confident it's going to kick ass.
If it's not good, then I will be absolutely
I
shocked.
mean, honestly, when's the
there's
last
no way.
time Insomniac developed a game that wasn't at the very least very fun to play?
What was
Probably
game
that
called?
team-based shooter thing that they made under EA called Fuse or something like that. That was
No.
probably the last
I
time.
don't remember that.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody remembers that.
What was the game they made for Xbox? What was that
Sunset
game called?
Overdrive.
Yeah. I never played that.
Yeah, that was a super fun game.
I think you get something for pre-ordering Rift Apart. I think you get like a commando suit,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, and maybe
Probably
like
you
a
just
gun
get
skin.
it earlier than, because I'm sure you can probably still get that in the game.
Yes, you
regardless.
can.
Maybe.
You just get it
I don't know.
earlier. Yep,
That's cool
what
though.
they said.
I'm a big. I have a lot of nostalgia for going commando.
Yeah, seeing the comparison of like the graphics of the suit from Going Commando to Rift Apart is like mind blowing.
Mm-hmm. God, Going Commando was such a good game. I love that game.
Never played it. Yeah, that
Same.
game that I'm thinking of is Fuse. It was released in 2013. It was it says Fuse was both a critical and commercial failure for Electronic Arts.
It's your boy, Fuse.
I remember that they actually had to change the name of this game for some reason. It originally had another title. It was originally going to be called Overstrike, and
Oh,
then it
wow.
was
That's terrible.
reworked and rebranded as Fuse. Yeah,
Man,
wild.
interesting history.
Man, this game has a
Insomniac.
63 on Metacritic. That'd
That's
be
good.
an interest. There's got to be like some videos that kind of go into the story of that game. That'd be interesting to learn about. But yeah, after that game, they did Sunset Overdrive. So at least I think that was after. I don't know, but yeah, ever since Sunset Overdrive, they've been killing it since then. So we're killing it before.
I'm thankful
I think
for that.
Fuse was just a misstep in their lineage of
Certainly. And
otherwise
it's very much a
fantastic
detraction
games.
from what they typically do anyway, like single player
Yeah,
action adventure games.
yeah, and you can tell just like from them rebranding and stuff that it probably would have been a good game if they were just left alone. But I'm sure they were they probably had like a lot of rules they had to follow for that particular
Totally.
game.
Dude, do we know the fate of Anthem's a random thought about EA? I know they were like coming to judge it, basically.
Yeah, I don't think we got the verdict yet.
Yep, not yet.
That was
Maybe
so
this week we'll
funny
get
to
it.
me. It's like Anthem's like literally at the gallows, and EA has their hand on the latch that'll decapitate it indefinitely. We
Yeah.
just don't know if they pled the right case to keep it going. But honestly, who the heck is playing Anthem anyway right now?
I bet you they kill it.
Yeah, they need to let it die.
I think they just need
Live
to
and
put
let
it out
die.
of its misery. Unless it is like, even if they like decide to continue, when are we going to see it?
Dude, who in their right mind would ever be like, dude, all these sick games are out in 2021, 2022. Like, let's go play some Anthem, dude. They made these sick updates. Go play Anthem. No one's going to do that. No matter, I can't think of a single thing they could put in that game that would ever make me want to try that game again.
They would literally have to redesign the whole world for me to want to play that game.
Yeah, that's
like they would have to give me.
Move on.
They would have to change everything.
I mean, crap happens. Just let it die and do something new.
They need to take whatever resources they have with BioWare and just, truck on with Dragon Age 4 and the next Mass Effect game.
Yeah.
Just
I agree.
I think this just needs to go as a lesson that I don't know what the lesson is, but it just they just need to continue on. I don't know.
Quit doing
maybe you should
crap.
have your like it feels like with that game they just started making something because it was a popular genre at the time.
I think
and then they never really reined in what it was actually going to be.
Yeah,
I think you can read about it in Blood, Sweat, and Pixels from what I remember.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was like supposed to be something, and the anthem that we got was made in like a year and a half or something.
Yeah. It was like 18 months.
Yeah,
year and a half. So
it's really just a failed leadership problem. Like they just didn't do what they needed to do.
Yeah.
Like at some point you have to actually make a game. You can't just have ideas.
If I remember correctly, Anthem was just like some random name they just came up with. And
I remember that. Yeah,
they had to
I think they named it that right before they revealed it too.
Yeah, they had to like build the story around
that word,
that name.
That's what's funny is that I could sense that in the opening cinematic. It's like the anthem of creation. I'm like, what? That's like something so dumb. And I was like, they just wanted the singular title, like Destiny is just very clean and straight to the point. They're like, we need a title like that, just Anthem.
Yeah.
I think the title before that was similar to Destiny or something, but it's very clearly the intention there.
It's just wild.
Goodness, I think it was something that was copyrighted. That's why they had to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I don't want to talk about Anthem. I really don't.
In other news, Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal have been cast as Joel and Ellie.
That's right, yeah.
Or Ellie and Joel, respectively, an HBO series. And all the right people are involved. They're both great actors, both former Game of Thrones actors. I mean, it makes sense. It's all under HBO's umbrella. So, but I have confidence in both of them as actors. I haven't seen Bella Ramsey in anything but Game of Thrones, but I did really like her in that series. Yeah. And I've seen Pedro in a lot now, and he's excellent.
Pedro's
so
a few things.
Yeah, I have confidence that he'll kill it. So that's exciting. We have the faces of our live action versions of these characters, and now we just wait and see how it turns out because all the right people are involved for this to be outstanding. So
I really hope so. I want it to be good.
Hopefully all these creatives that are involved can all unify to a singular vision, because oftentimes when you have multiple voices contributing to like developing a story, especially adapting a story, it can be disastrous. Like that's happened many times. So hopefully Neil Druckmann, of course, Neil Druckmann is one of the most important key contributors to this project. Hopefully that's the thing. Neil Druckmann's used to collaborating with an entire studio of people. So I imagine he'll easily contribute with or collaborate with these other like filmmaking creatives and producers and stuff. So
yeah, I hope he's like a great sort of bridgeway from like how they make the game and the story that they tell there and what they want to put into a show. I hope that he can sort of be a nice, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, like a middleman to sort of make it make sense, make it work.
That and like just to be there to make sure they don't, especially in the writing. The writing is the most important part. I mean, everything else kind of falls in place based on the writing. So long as he's a part of the writing process in the sense that he is correcting wrongs where they're like, let's do it, like do this with Joel's character. Let's do this with Ellie. That just is totally out of character for them. Hopefully Neil Druckmann can correct them there. Yeah. So that they can just avoid like what would be the inevitable backlash to the audience reacting to it. At least people, obviously the vast majority of people watching this will have played the game. Because most new viewers that are new to this story probably wouldn't know the difference, but longtime fans, myself included, be upset if one of these characters did something that's just not like them at all.
True. But you also have to keep in mind, like, you want people to watch this that haven't played the games. So like maybe things that happen in the games are not going to work in a show setting.
Yeah, I don't really think about events. I think about like actions they would take in certain scenarios. Like even if it's a brand new scenario we haven't seen in the game, something they do or say that just doesn't make sense for them. I think that's very important.
Sure.
But I'm also open to them exploring new aspects of these characters we haven't seen, just something that isn't just completely out of left field.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But yeah, definitely. I know some people were kind of upset about Bella, but I don't really know enough about her to really have an opinion on that. I don't know if she necessarily looks like Ellie, but maybe. The last time that I've seen her was literally like in Game of Thrones when she was like in character. Then she didn't look like her, but maybe she does now. I don't know. It doesn't entirely matter. She's going to be her own Ellie. So
I think she has the spunk that Ellie has in Game of Thrones. From what I remember, she has that feisty attitude.
She was in like a leadership role, correct?
Yeah, and can stand up for herself and everything. Yeah. So I think she has that aspect down for sure.
I have faith in the show, though.
We'll see how her English accent is. Or her American accent, I mean. We'll see how Pedro's Southern accent is.
He has a Southern accent?
Oh, I mean, he's Joel. Joel has a Southern accent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he does a really good American accent as the Mandalorian, but I think his natural voice is mostly just sounds pretty American. He doesn't sound any other way, so I imagine he can pull off a pretty good Southern accent. Ellie. So
maybe it'll just be like a slight little tinge.
Mm-hmm. Preston and I speculated about the show a lot, though, just things we'd like to see and how we'd like to see them approach certain things and how many aspects of that game can be perfect cliffhanger endings to episodes. There's a lot of ways you could cut this that would be very effective. I mean, that's the thing that's beneficial about the game is the game's already so cinematic that it's like beat for beat. It's easy to like, again, I'm not a writer, like a film writer, but I feel like it's almost writes itself, like adapting it to the screen. So
I mean, the game is already broken up into seasons. So like natural seasons, like spring, winter, fall, summer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. I mean, maybe you want to even break it up more than that. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas, but yeah, that could be cool just in terms of breaking up what you're seeing each season in the show and what's happening. But you're still telling the same story, obviously. Well, hopefully they are. I mean, it's not going to be beat for beat the same. I mean, we don't know.
Mm-mm. It's tricky because you could technically end season 1 like when Joel, spoiler alert for the first game you haven't played it, when he gets impaled and like Ellie has to drag him and like take care of him. Mm-hmm. You could technically end the first season there if they like really wanted to draw it out over a few seasons, but because I think there are enough set pieces in the first game and in that story that would keep additional seasons like interesting throughout from like beginning to end of the first game. So the first game's long in the sense that there are plenty of like major events that would be great for TV that you could break up the seasons. Because I know a lot of those games too are just walking around talking, getting to know each other. It's like a really big, important part of that game.
Sure.
Obviously, you can't do an entire show like that, but if they didn't tell the entirety of the story in like 8 to 10 episodes, season 1, then like 2 or 3 seasons you could technically probably do with the first game, but I kind of want to see the whole story done in like 10 episodes. I think that's realistic, honestly, for TV.
Yeah.
I agree.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'd rather it be treated as like a mini series that just covers everything than, drawn out in multiple seasons.
Wholeheartedly agree. So exciting, though. I mean, it'll obviously be a while before it's out. I'd say earliest, like halfway through next year, probably. Especially with the COVID protocols and everything, it just like makes every
I think we'd be
disastrous.
I think we'd be lucky if we got it that early.
Yeah,
but hopefully.
One other thing I'm hoping for is like really a lot of practical effects. There's no reason you can't make an impressive looking clicker practical for the most part. I mean, bloater. Yeah, I might have to do it some CG for a bloater or something, but
yeah, I think that's the only thing that really stands out as something that would need CGI as a bloater. Right. But everything else, like runners and stuff, makeup, clickers, makeup. It's not like you're fighting giant spiders or anything in this universe. Like it should be for the most part be like 90%, 95% practical effects.
Yeah, and shows like Walking Dead too have already shown that you can make Georgia look post-apocalyptic. They'll probably shoot a lot of this in Atlanta, honestly. Like so many Marvel shows are shooting in Atlanta right now. It's insane. I know 2 people that are working on 2 different Marvel properties right now, both in Atlanta. Not to say that this has anything to do with Marvel, but a lot of production studios are shooting here. So we've seen Georgia look post-apocalyptic, so there's no reason they can have a ton of practical sets in the show too. Mm-hmm. So, and it's HBO. I mean, HBO is so much higher tier than AMC, so they have no excuse not to make it excellent.
Yeah.
Sure.
And like Chernobyl looks insane. Like that show, not only is that show just excellent across the board, but it looks incredible too. So a lot of the same people are involved. So I have like a ton of confidence it's going to be really good.
Same.
That being said, gentlemen, you want to jump into Ask IOG?
Let's do
Love
it.
to.
All right, Ask IOG. It's the part of the show where we answer your questions submitted through any of our social media at ItsObviousGaming, the Ask IOG section of our Discord channel, or emailed to us at ItsObviousGaming@gmail.com. And always include the hashtag AskIOG so that we know you want your questions read live on the show. Question 1 comes from Bruce Bogtrotter. Writes in and says, after putting it off for years, because I'm not really into anime and it's not my usual type of game I play, I've just began playing Persona 5 and I'm about 12 hours in so far. My question to you fine geezers, have any tips or tricks I should know? Keep up the great work, guys from the UK. Bruce, thanks for writing in, brother.
Tips or tricks?
Just keep hitting X and pay attention to the dialogue and you're good.
Do not.
Good tip.
Probably the 2 biggest tips I can think of is actually probably 3. Do not get stressed. Don't get stressed out because they're gonna make things in the game seem more urgent than they actually are. Like you might have a time frame to do something, but you have time. You have time to do it. So no need to fret. Try and get through palaces if you can in like a day or 2. It's definitely possible to do that. And be sure to fuse personas. I know in the beginning that might be something that you maybe forget about, but you need to be, taking some time, before you enter mementos or before you enter a palace for the first time to go into the Velvet Room and see what you can do. Because if you kind of just stick with the same guy or forget to do that, your persona is going to be, a very weak, a lower level, than your party members and stuff. So it's good to keep like a diverse group of personas as well. So you're, good for any situation. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I always change out my party members too, because they all passively get experience. I'm pretty sure
they do,
but
it depends.
I think you get more if you use.
If you
them.
grow your confidant with the Moon Arcane, which is Mishima, the guy that runs the, I believe that's his name. His confidant tree leads to your other members getting XP.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it's like a earlier rank, but it's not like. I think it's like a mid tier for Mishima, so maybe like 4 or 5.
Definitely do that. So the rest of your team is leveling up with you. If you're on Royal, also make sure to get Ryuji's confidant up so you can get the fast battle perk, and that allows you to grind just so much easier to not even have to go into battles. You just automatically win and you reap the rewards from it. Yeah. So yeah, and
I forgot to mention, Preston, I ran into the Reaper the other day in Mementos. And
did he just destroy you?
I got into combat.
Yeah.
He destroyed me, man.
Yeah.
I got destroyed.
You got to take him on like at the very end of the game, pretty much.
But yeah, I think I was like down to my last party member, and then I was able to run away somehow.
Yeah.
And then then he was chasing me, and I just had to run to the next level. Like, it was terrifying.
There was a way to cheese him in the original, not Royal. If you went into Mementos during flu season, I believe, he would just be constantly stunned the entire fight. So you could just whittle away at his health.
That's nice.
But they took that away in Royal. Yeah. So you actually have to fight him. That's probably the hardest trophy in Royal, is beating him. But even that isn't that big of a deal. But I'm trying to think of any more, definitely make sure you're doing your confidants, because especially with the people that you go into combat with, because that helps out tremendously. The more perks that they get, it'll help you out in combat for sure.
Try to have like a nice on your guy in particular. Try to have like if you have like a set of 3 other party members that you always use, and like that's a fine way to play. Like I personally use all of them, but if you just want to use 3 other people, make sure your guy, the protagonist, has like spell types that the other people don't, so you can cover a broader range of weaknesses amongst enemies. Just stuff like
and
that.
And all this depends.
And you can get that by fusing.
All this depends on what difficulty you're playing on. If you're playing on normal, then you need to, fuse personas, make sure your confidants are good. But if you're playing on easy or whatever, then pretty much at that point you're just kind of cruising along through the game for the most part.
You don't even have to worry about anything.
Yeah. But it's a big game. Do not become overwhelmed. I think the game does a good job, and I'm sure you've seen it if you're like 10 or 12 hours in, about slowly feeding you information that you need to know. So I don't think anything gets too overwhelming. So just, take your time. This is a very, very long game. So definitely sip on it. Don't have to just shove it in your face like it's a short but delicious meal from Taco Bell. Savor it like a nice giant steak. Take it a bite at a time.
No, man.
It's a good way to put it. We forgot to mention we did have Taco Bell on our snowboarding trip.
Oh,
we straight up feasted on Taco Bell, and the people that worked at this KFC/Taco Bell were so kind.
Yeah.
And she gave us free cookies from KFC.
Wow.
So, and it was great. It was very fresh too. So.
Kentucky Fried Cookies.
yes,
that's what it stands for.
They were delicious, and we considered ordering one of your chicken breast specials, but we passed on it.
Forgot about that.
Next one comes from Weol. I think that's how I say it. Forgive me if it isn't. He says, with the new Star Wars shows coming out and Disney cranking up the heat, it got me thinking about how cool the new Obi-Wan Jedi series is looking. My question is, if you guys could pick a show about Jedi, what would it be like? Thoughts on the new Star Wars era? Stay supple. New Star Wars era. I guess by new Star Wars era, you mean just the future of what we have coming.
I would love some Mace Windu. Give me a show about for him.
Mace Windu's a cool character for sure.
He is criminally underutilized. Like I know he has had a very specific place in the whole canon of Star Wars, but
I've heard he's awesome in the Clone Wars animated series. That's kind of where he shines, I've heard.
Yeah, yes. But yeah, I think he would have and Samuel L. has talked about how much he wants to play Mace Windu again. And maybe he doesn't look the same as he did back then. Obviously he doesn't. He's gotten considerably older since those movies were filmed. But there's some way that they could. I mean, even they could just. I don't know. It would have to be something that happened in the past. But I don't know. I mean, I'm a big Samuel L. fan, so I would love to see him play that role again. I just don't know how it would work or what they would do.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's Star Wars. You can make up anything.
It's tricky to pick a Jedi show because, I mean, obviously, first thing that comes to mind is anything in the Old Republic era would be awesome.
Yeah. Which is just a wealth of anything.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I like. I mean, Clone Wars really is a great representation of Anakin and Obi-Wan, especially on their adventures.
Yeah.
But I'd love another couple of Jedi to go on adventures together for a series or something to be kind of cool, especially in the Old Republic era. Because that's just such a vast era of Star Wars. I mean, it's been explored in several aspects, but I feel like there's a lot you could still do in that era.
Yeah.
So. But
I mean, technically in canon, I don't know if it has, right?
Yeah. In terms of the Star Wars or the future of Star Wars, is that what it says? The new Star Wars era. I mean, there's a lot of cool ideas on the horizon. I mean, which ones will land is the question because there's so many. I'm most excited for Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie, whatever that's going to be, because I love him as a director. His sense of humor is outstanding. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that turns out. I don't think I have anything else on that.
Nope. I do not.
Cool. Thanks for writing in. Francis J. Pete writes in and says, how's it going, dude? Hoping you guys are doing good and staying fine. I wanted to know what genres of games you feel are underrepresented in the industry today. Do you feel that those genres need to be updated? If so, how? I love the podcast and appreciate that you guys continue to rock the Casbah in between your busy schedules.
The hell is a Casbah?
I don't know. But thanks for writing in, Francis. Genres you think are underrepresented?
I feel like we've answered this like 20 times. Have we been doing this podcast? Not that it's a bad question.
Oh, Preston's headset is it just stopped working again?
What do you do?
He says it stopped working again.
Preston is he's not happy right now.
He's totally muted too, so while he figures out what's going on this time, if he even can rejoin us, we'll see. Underrepresented. That's the thing, is that I don't know if there is any I can think of, honestly.
Yeah, what does it mean to be underrepresented?
Maybe it'll be easier if we think about this on like a personal note, like genres we really love that we feel like are underrepresented.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, every genre I love, I feel like is not underrepresented. So hard to say.
Question done.
Like I love shooters. I love survival horror. I like action adventure. I like platformers. I love me some Mario sports games.
Mm-hmm.
Give me more Mario sports games. Those are underrepresented. They don't come out as often as they should.
I think we need more shooters, like more first-person shooters. Like we don't see a lot anymore. Like, do you agree with that? Like we used to get.
You mean like original shooters?
Yeah,
yeah, because we have a lot of the same annual or like
it's
like
pretty much
monetized
Call of
shooters
Duty
these days.
You get Call of Duty, and
Call
then
of Duty, Battlefield, Apex.
Well, Battlefield's like every 3 or 4 years, maybe. And then like we get like something like Valorant will come out like once a decade, and like Overwatch. But other than that, dude, like there's not a whole lot to pick from if you're a big shooter guy. Yeah. I mean, there's variety there, sure, but I don't know. There's always more room, I feel like, and there's got to be something that someone hasn't done yet. There's got to be.
I know there's. I mean, there are a lot of indie shooters that have come out. Like I think it's called Proteus or something that I played for COG. There was a video I did. It was very Doom inspired, but like that was cool. And I know there's that game called like Beat Shooter or something.
Yeah,
where you like play to the beat. Like that's pretty unique. I mean, there's a lot of cool indie shooters out there these days.
Sure, yeah.
But
and then we had stuff like Titanfall too. Like Titanfall was great. I really liked that game.
Basically Apex for the most part. I mean, the mechanics feel almost identical. Mm-hmm. Aside from like the wall running and the Titan aspect, like Apex feels almost mechanically the same.
Yeah, I almost feel like the genre is not what it. Like maybe I just don't care about it as much anymore. But I'm never really compelled to play them anymore. And I was like obsessed with them.
Did you finish Eternal?
Doom Eternal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
That game
I didn't play the DLC.
Ass. Love that game.
Yeah, it's a great game. That was the last FPS that I've played, I think. Besides
That's
Call
the
of Duty.
best FPS I've played since Doom 2016, easily.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, like I think Modern Warfare, Call of Duty is outstanding. Like it's it's Call of Duty, so I mean mechanically it's always been great, but that is the best Call of Duty I've played probably ever. Aside from like the campaigns I prefer in other games, I think just the way that game plays and like the modes they added to the multiplayer are just incredible. But as far as just shooters that really stand apart from the crowd, Doom 2016 and Eternal are way up there for me.
Mm-hmm. I've actually had like this like calling to go back and play Valorant. Like I really want to go back and try and play that game again. Mm-hmm. I've been watching some like promotional for it, and I watched a streamer for an hour or so, like a little while back, and I was like, man, this game is cool. Like I wish I could be really good at this game and just enjoy playing it a lot. So.
Dude, the crime is that Lawbreakers tanked, dude. It was just no one was ready for its excellence, dude. No one was ready for it. It was just ahead of its time.
Yeah, it seemed like a fun game anytime I played it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was very gimmicky with the whole gravity thing. I never really liked that while I was playing it. But if that game had come out 3 years earlier, it probably would have survived. But it came out at just the worst time. It came out like right when Battle Royale exploded. And also, it was just so similar. No matter what Cliffy B and anyone else tried to say, it was so similar to Overwatch that, I mean, again, in all fairness, there were many different things, but it was just so similar to that in many ways that it just tanked because of that. It was just the worst.
Garrett, I think the game launched on the Overwatch beta week, and like no one played Lawbreakers because of that. Like everyone was playing Overwatch beta.
And also, that was that battle royale they made to like compensate, like right after that.
That was called. It's right on the tip of my tongue.
It's always right there. What was it called? It's not called Far Out or like Stoked or something. It's something like that. I can find it in like 3 seconds. 1 second.
I bet I can find it quicker.
It was Boss Key Battle Royale. It was Boss Key Studios, wasn't it?
I don't know. Radical Heights.
Radical Heights. It wasn't Boss Key, I don't think.
Ugh. Yeah, that game looked rough.
I remember
it looked like it was just put together.
Yeah, it basically was.
Poor Cliffy B.
Radical Heights. Goodness gracious. Underrepresented game modes. Got anything else?
Underrepresented game modes,
I mean,
or
maybe like
genres?
RTS, but I don't have much interest in RTS games.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't have my foot in sort of like what comes out anymore as much as I used to. I mean, definitely RTS is very underrepresented nowadays, but I think it's just because less people are interested in the genre and they don't sell as much. So those 2 points go hand in hand. So studios aren't making them as much. Like if you want to see more of those games, you need to go in the indie scene, and there's always games there. But a lot of people hold out for those nice AAA experiences that are really polished. At least the majority. But that's all I got for Mr. Francis. What's our
Same.
next one?
We're still waiting on Poobah over there.
Oh,
think
I
he's
don't know if
figuring
he's
it
going
out.
to be ready. I think we might have to keep going.
We'll keep trucking.
Poor
Ed
Poobah.
Richards writes in and says, "Hello from England. Man, we got 2 boys from the UK today. A long-time listener now. Question for you, Bon. What do you think about the amount of hackers that seem to be on every online game at the moment, and how can it be dealt with?" So let's start there.
I don't know the answer.
It's kind of like the whole scalper situation. It's like it's just rampant. I mean, I'm not saying like hacking, not really hack. Well, I guess hacking could technically be a crime, but like people that glitch games and like cheat and stuff, and like of course all the scalping, and then especially in Atlanta, dude, like crime is just through the freaking roof, especially with car break-ins. I think like 50 plus cars get broken into a day in Atlanta, like broad daylight too, and people just get away with it every time.
Interesting.
And we even have, I read this story recently on Nextdoor of these valet guys that literally got hired just so they could break into the cars they were parking, and they got away with it for a while. What's worse, they were finally confronted by some people whose car they'd parked, and they just bailed. They ran away, were not ever caught. And the security company that was in charge of the security footage of them breaking into cars just refused to cooperate with whoever they were dealing with. I don't know how they got away with that. They just refused to cooperate. It was like something about their contract with that restaurant. They didn't have to reveal the footage or something. It's almost like the security company was like in on it or something.
Yeah.
It was like crap like that. It just drives me insane. But anyway,
That's
what do we do about all the hackers? You know what's funny about Warzone is that I've never won a Warzone match. Now I'm not saying I'm not bad at the game, but I'm certainly not super skilled, so it's understandable. But there have been a handful. Now we usually lose fair and square, and I recognize that. But there have been 2 or 3 times where we've been playing, and I'm like wholeheartedly convinced that someone had to have been cheating to kill us. Like it's just insane. And then I read recently that like 60,000 players were banned or something for cheating. I'm like, well, no freaking wonder that we're losing in some of these asinine ways.
Warzone has a awful hacker problem. Like, there's so many people that cheat in that game. It's unbelievable.
It makes sense because sometimes we lose. I'm like, that literally makes no sense, and we just have to deal with it.
Yeah, and I think that from what I've understood, like a lot of the streamers that I follow, they'll be complaining about it constantly, and they always complain about how Activision never has done anything to like put in any sort of software to detect it or anything like that. Like they're just complacent
what they're
with it.
doing to cheat. Like, how are they cheating? Do you know?
Oh, they're just using software to auto lock onto heads and kill people really quickly.
Makes sense.
It's just that simple.
That makes sense because
I mean, it's not that simple.
I've been a couple times where I just unload on someone, and they seemingly kill me in a shot, and I have like full armor and everything. It doesn't make any sense.
Do you have kill cams? Like, are there kill cams in Warzone? I can't remember.
There are, yeah.
Just watch all your kill cams, and
I usually skip them,
notice
though. That's
when
my
you
problem.
see them.
I should pay attention to that more.
Yeah, you're probably too pissed when you die. That's how I was. It's like, get me out of here.
I mean, at least Warzone has the gulag, so
yeah,
that's one perk to dying in that game.
But I think if you watch it more, you might notice a lot more auto locking onto heads. It's certainly a problem in that game.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's nothing that we can do to stop that
just
problem.
A shame.
There's
It really
nothing we
sucks.
can do. That's why it's frustrating for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's games like Valorant that came out that was supposed to have this like revolutionary software, that was going to detect any sort of anti-cheat, any hacking, anything like that. And then people were still able to get around that. So it's just like, well, like, can we do anything? Like, are cheaters just going to win forever?
Are they just here to stay?
Yeah. I mean, you're not getting them every game, but
You just have to hope you don't
when
run
you do
into,
run into them, it ruins
Any
it.
cheaters. Yeah. It's a
But-
bummer.
I think that really takes a lot of the fun out of the game for a lot of people. So, I mean, that's the problem is that like hackers and like people that are making these mods and all these things that can get around these systems, like they're constantly changing them and they're constantly, going around all these walls that are being put up just to keep doing it.
Totally.
And why wouldn't they unless someone stops them or holds them accountable? It's just how humans are.
The darkness. and
You had more to this
depravity
question,
of the
did you not?
world.
You want me to read it?
There's a second part to this question, actually. He says, Garrett, I just picked up Hunt Showdown on PC with a buddy, and we are in desperate need of some tips. Send help! Cheers, boys.
Oh, you're just the guy.
Always makes my Monday commute better when I can listen to you three shooting the breeze. Ed, we appreciate it, brother. Hunt Showdown tips. I'll keep it brief because I could go on a huge tangent. I'm not going to let that happen today. But I do have it's technically a little outdated now because I made it before 1.0 launched. But there's a video on COG Connected. If you just YouTube search bar COG Connected, that's COG Connected, one word, Hunt Showdown tips. It's my video. It's like 5 tips to prevail. I think it's called 5 tips to prevail in Hunt Showdown. It's very basic survival tips in the sense of like the core mechanics of the game is what I'm talking about. That game is so nuanced and there's so many metas about it that make it super unique that there are a multitude of ways you could approach every match depending on your loadout and your arsenal and who you're playing with and where you're at on the map and what time of day it is. And like there's so many aspects that are like very in-depth and complex, but the very basic core mechanics in that tips video still stand to this day. So I recommend that video. Just it's probably more interesting to watch and listen to versus just listening to me now. But I recommend that. And ultimately, just off the top of my head, it would be the better you know the map, the more you will win because there are so many ways to traverse especially the compounds where all the bosses are, but so many ways in and out of those places are just to creatively trap enemies inside or keep them out or sneak into them or go in guns blazing, depending again on your arsenal and what time of day it is. But if you know the maps really well, you will always know exactly what to do in any given situation, whether it's to escape, whether it's to engage in a firefight, if you know better spots than others. I mean, that's very important. And on top of that, knowing your arsenal very well, like all of your tools, all your consumables, all your primary, your secondary, if you know exactly your ammo count and how they feel to shoot and when you should and should not use all those items, it's just the more you play, the more that'll become familiar. And that's the beauty of that game. It's just there's so much depth to it. Mm-hmm. And every match is unique because of that. It's just survival horror meets first-person shooting meets battle royale, and it's a work of art. I love that game so much. So I still dabble in that from time to time. I mean, there's a time I was playing virtually every day for at least a few hours, but I'm still a big fan. So just off the top of the dome, just to keep it brief, there's some tips I can throw out there. So I hope you guys enjoy it, you and your buddy, because I'm a mega fan. And I love to hear when people are playing Hunt Showdown because I think it's not necessarily hidden now, but it's definitely that is an underrepresented masterpiece, I'd say. Preston, you're back now. Any thoughts on what we've been talking about?
Am I back? Can you hear me?
You are.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. No.
Okay. You want to read the next one, Jacob?
We do? No, I have no thoughts on Hunt. I have nothing to add. How about we do one more and then we call it a day, boys?
Do we have like one more and a short one we can do?
Let's do Carlos's at the very end.
Okay. You want to do Andrew's next or one of these other ones?
What? I said let's do Carlos's next.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to do. You only want to do one more?
Yeah. Let's save some for next time.
All right. So we got a chunk there.
Yeah.
I just feel bad because those guys wrote in 2 weeks ago.
I mean, we could. Let's ask him. Let's do him.
Only if you guys have time. If you got to get
I have
out of
time.
here, I understand.
Let's do it.
All right, you want to lead the way in the next one then?
Sure. This next one is from Andrew Mamurda. And he goes, "Hey, gentlemen. With the transition of internet-based media rather than TV, I find myself winding down watching cool games I often don't have the time to commit to play myself. Or I'm more interested in the who more than the what. My laptop can hardly run Escape from Tarkov, but I watch hours and hours of other people play. And when it comes to the Soulsborne series, I play tons, but still consume more Souls content through streamers or YouTubers. Are there any games that you watch more than you play?" I can go for this one first. I've been watching people play Valorant, and that's a game I don't play at all anymore. And I was just telling Garrett that I would like to be playing that game more, but just don't have the time right now or enough interest yet. But I do want to jump back into it eventually. Another game is GTA Online. Right now I'm watching a lot of that because I'm watching people RP on servers in that game, and it's so much fun to watch people just fully embody a character and then like and like be in this world on GTA with other people doing the same thing.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Oh, it's crazy. You
I'll have
should
to check
watch
that
some
out.
of this. I'll give you some links to some streamers that I like. But there's this one guy named Moon, and he has two characters. One of the characters he plays is a police officer, and his name is Lenny Hawk, and and he comes from Jacksonville, Florida. He is he's like an idiot, but he's like he came to Los Santos to stop the liberal government from taking over Los Santos.
That's incredible.
And he's a Coast Guard vet that was there for 5.1 years. I could go on and on about his character, but he's just hilarious. And then his other character is this guy named the Shadow Lord. and he's like this geek that wears a red fedora in his suit, and he in his mind he is a he lives the world as if he's a D&D character, like he's a rogue. Like his name's a Shadow Lord. He's a rogue, and he always casts Vanish when he wants to leave encounters. Like he'll say Vanish, and he'll throw smoke down in GTA, and then he'll just crouch away. And obviously, people can still see him, but he's just like role playing within a role play. He's it's so stupid, and he has all these funny voices that he does, and it's actually so funny. It's way funnier than I ever thought anything could be on a stream, but. It's just so entertaining. So I've been watching a lot of GTA Online for that reason. And I think that's it. I mean, I watch quite a few WoW streams if I have time to do so, but that's a game that I play quite a bit.
Yeah, the only games I watch are it's sort of watching. It's just highlight reel from. It used to be a Kotaku show, but it's just its own thing now. But highlight reel. Where I'll get like the majority of like game content I'm watching. I don't really watch any streamers or like YouTube Let's Players anymore. But yeah, I don't watch too much stuff. I'm a player, not a watcher.
Yeah, it's kind of same with me. I don't really watch too much gaming content, honestly.
I mean, there might come a day when I have to really I won't be able to play as much, just inevitably, if I want to be like a family man one day. So I might find myself watching games more than I play in the future. But as of right now, I can fortunately still play them.
Yeah.
Not to say there's anything wrong with someone who has the time to play, but also loves to watch games. But I don't find myself doing that too much.
I often watch streams instead of like watching a show or something like that. So that's sort of how I supplement it into my life. Or I'll watch a stream while I play a game, depending what game it is.
I'm too busy watching Batman Forever for like the 400th time, so I'd say watching.
Hey, you like
games
what you
for
like,
later.
man.
I think that was the whole question, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Andrew, thanks for writing in, man. Nico One Stedition, I think that's how you say it, writes in and says, "Hello, you beautiful ladies. I have two questions for you today. Have you ever regretted selling a video game? Recently, I bought the Neo collection on PS5 because I sold Neo 1 on PS4.
I feel like I have an example.
I don't regret selling a game, but I do regret selling my PlayStation 3 and 360 at the time of PS4's launch because I was a little bored there. Thankfully, the best game of the generation, Thief, was out very shortly after PS4's launch. But before that dropped, I was kind of bored for a while. So I regretted that deeply at the time.
I regretted selling Breath of the Wild a few years ago. I sold it like the year after I had it. Then I had a massive urge to go back to it, and like we were talking about a while ago, the game was still $60, so that kind of sucked to have to, suck it up and buy it again.
Definitely.
But yeah, I really don't sell games anymore. So that's like the most recent thing I can think of. But I definitely felt the same way Garrett felt when I sold pretty much everything I owned gaming related to get the PS4. And all I had was Shadowfall and Battlefield 4, I think, for what felt like several months. I remember even
it was
the Tomb Raider reboot, like remaster, came out, and we were like psyched out of our mind just to have something to play, even though it was a game I literally had just played a few months, prior to that.
I remember that came out in January, and then the next month Thief came out.
Yeah. Then finally, when
Thief.
like Infamous Second Son came out, it's like, thank God, something.
Yeah.
It came out for you. I had an Xbox, so I didn't get to play anything.
I would play Resogun in the meantime, and I liked Resogun, but I'd convince myself like this is exactly what I need right now.
Yeah.
I love this.
Resogun's
Look at that
game.
60 FPS.
I remember
1080p
when
glory.
around that same time, I think The Stick of Truth had just come out, and like Borderlands, the pre-sequel, came out, but they were all on 360 and PS3
last gen.
And I was so pissed off. I was like, man, like I would totally play Borderlands right now, but I literally can't.
And then the second part of the question is, what are your thoughts on season 4 of Attack on Titan? Do you think they can wrap up the story with these 16 episodes, or do you think it's going to have a season 4 part 2?
I thought we answered that part of the question a while back, like a couple weeks
someone
ago.
else. Maybe I put it in here twice. I don't know. But yeah, I'm enjoying the new
Just
season
in
so far.
case, I am digging it. But like I said earlier, the last 2 episodes have been kind of boring. So I'm hoping today, we're recording on Sunday, the 21st, it's more exciting.
Yeah. The new season definitely started out with a bang. It's been really great. But can't really say a whole lot about it without spoiling it. So just take our word for it. I've been enjoying it.
Thank you.
And
And I do
Preston,
think
you
they can
need to
wrap
watch
it
it.
up
I
in this
know.
season.
I'm gonna watch it, I swear.
You better. One of these days, I'm just going to spoil it. And you're going to be unhappy that you didn't watch
better
it.
not.
Cade Nichols writes in and says, "Howdy, boys. Hope you all are doing well. My question is for the succulent Sultan Jacob. Did you ever get into the original Warcraft RTS games? And for the rest of the boys, have any of you ever been into strategy games? Love the show, fellas. P.S. Jacob, you have incredible breasts."
Thank you, Cade. It's very
That's
kind of you.
for dang sure.
I did play Warcraft 3 when I was very young, and I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I do remember how awesome Illidan and Arthas both were, and that's part of the reason why I fell in love with them so much in actual WoW. Back when BC came out, that's when I was first getting into Warcraft, and when I saw Illidan making his return, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm getting this 100%. And then the next expansion, Arthas, came to WoW, and I was like, oh my gosh, like can anything get any better than this? And the answer was no, nothing could. And I've been a big fan of Arthas and Illidan for a very long time, and part of the reason was because I've found them in Warcraft 3. But I was never like a huge like Warcraft 3 player though. Like I dabbled in it maybe once or twice, like just playing through it, but I never played the mods or did anything like I'm pretty sure like Dota came out of Warcraft 3 mods, so I never really dabbled in stuff like that. But I never picked up Reforged because I obviously for good reason. But original Warcraft 3 holds a place in my heart. But it was never like my favorite game. It's just one of those games that I picked up just because, back when I used to play PC games when I was really younger. But good game. Unfortunately, you can't play it anymore. Blizzard took that away from you.
Bummer. I very briefly had an interest in Halo Wars 2, but I didn't stick with it. Yeah, no RTS games really ever grabbed me. I had a friend in audio school way back in the day. It was like 2012. He was obsessed with StarCraft. Absolutely obsessed.
StarCraft is a fantastic game.
Um,
It's not really my thing, but
yeah. I mean, I always thought like they look cool, and I think there's
Space
like 1%
Marines.
of me that has an interest, but I haven't given enough time to like really let one grab me.
Yeah. Very complicated.
Yeah,
For sure. I mean, you could almost say that Hunt Showdown's a real-time strategy game in some aspects. It's like real time. You're having to strategize, like, how are we going to get out of this situation?
Yeah.
So
I've never been too into those type of strategy games either. I remember a Lord of the Rings one was very popular when I was in high school around the group of people I was kind of friends with in high school. The guys, I would eat lunch with and stuff. They would talk about this Lord of the Rings game, and it always was so weird to me why they were into it, because these were like the guys that I would play COD with and stuff, and just this type of game was so drastically different. But funny enough, I do not know his YouTube name, but one of those guys actually went off and started a YouTube channel purely around strategy games, and he is extremely popular. Like, he has hundreds of thousands of subscribers on YouTube and has a very pretty big Twitch following playing those types of games.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I stumbled upon it like a year or two ago. I was like, holy crap, how did I not know this? But yeah, he's into playing those games, so I always think about that guy when I think of strategy games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never been too into him.
I always get so upset with myself because I used to play this RTS game that was on the PC, and I remember nothing about it really, but I know that I played it. Like, I remember that there was like a grid-based battlefield, and the terrain was always changing, and there were like it was like a classical fantasy aesthetic. Like, there'd be like woodlands and castle areas and like dungeons and caves and stuff. And then I remember all like the little units that you would take into battle, and then if you got enough experience with them, like when they killed enemies, they would like upgrade to like level 2 of that unit. And I used to get so excited when my units would upgrade, because not only would they upgrade, you could like take them to different battles and they would keep their like status, and like they would get more and more powerful. But I don't remember like anything about what the game was called or like what the narrative was. But I just remember having a lot of fun with it when I was probably around like 12 or 13, like, early teenage years, I would say. But like I always like get upset with myself anytime I think about it, because like I remember how much fun I had playing that. And I think my uncle got me into it, so I need to like ask him maybe like what that was, if he would even remember. But anyways, let's move on to our last one.
I think I found the guy. I think his name's Pixelated Apollo. Yeah, he has 800,000 subscribers on YouTube right now. He just plays like a Total War Rome and stuff. But yeah, I used to eat lunch with that guy at high school for several years. Pretty wild. Man's living the dream. Or at least I think he is. It looks like he is.
You've got a couple celebrities come out from your school.
What's that?
You've had a couple celebrities come out from your school.
Yeah, the Gingers Have Souls kid went to my school. I think that's the only other guy I can think. Oh, Robert Kimdichie, the Kimdichie brothers, football players. They came from my school as well, which I don't think he's even been in the NFL for a while now. But yeah, those are the only notable people I can think of.
We've had Jacob Alka come out of our school, so
yeah.
His exquisite breasts are famous worldwide to a degree.
To a degree.
His breasts are known worldwide, technically. Even if it's like one person in like every continent.
That's worldwide.
They know about Jacob's breasts.
Well, I've heard you speak of them.
The true Mr. Worldwide, Jacob Alka. Big finale comes from Carlos. Carlos writes in and says, how dirty are your guys' PS5 controllers? Give us a quick update, and if you keep them clean, what's some tips? I only asked because I checked mine.
Yuck.
Mine's pristine still, because I treat it like it's high-end hardware, so I like make sure I wash my hands before I use it and stuff. So
yeah,
I will say that my Sorry, Preston.
I was just saying, yeah, mine looks fine. Doesn't look discolored or anything yet.
Yeah, I will notice on mine. So in Discord where he asked this question, I was like, oh, mine's crystal clean. I'm a clean boy. when in reality, like my face buttons, they're getting to the point where they're a little oily. So I'm like trying to figure out what I should clean it with. And also, you know, like the edges of the controller where you can like see the seam where they connect. I'm noticing like a tiny bit of like, you know, brown muck in there. So I'm trying to like take my fingernail and scrape it out. But other than that, it's pristine clean. So
Dude, the worst
Maybe I just
part
need to
about working at
wipe them
GameStop
down.
was taking in the used controllers. You had to clean them, and it was just like the worst.
Did you ever see any nasty consoles or controllers?
Oh, the
like
controllers every time, dude, were just
Ugh.
disgusting. So,
Imagine doing that now with COVID.
oh, I know. I wonder if they even accept that stuff now.
Probably not.
They do. As of now, they do accept trades. There was a while where they
Yeah,
weren't, but
gotcha.
they are now.
I mean, just trades in general were just always sucked so much, having to process everything.
Yeah.
Man, it was so bad.
And the
I
customers are
remember
always pissed because they're
processing,
not getting anything.
50 plus games. It'd take me like 3.5 hours to process them and then clean the controllers and stuff. I was just hell.
Would you clean
thankfully, I
them in
only
the back?
worked there for like 4 months or something, but that sucked for a while. Grateful that I had work, but I did not love it. So
I wasn't. I hated working there.
yeah, I remember you and I and our couple of coworkers on Black Friday or whatever day it was watched the Force Awakens trailer, teaser trailer when it first dropped
Mm-hmm.
together. That's the one memory I
Good
have that's
times.
positive from GameStop.
That's probably my most fond Star Wars memory from the new trilogy was watching that trailer.
I think that's all we got this week, gentlemen.
That's it.
Yeah, that was 257.
That was a good one.
It's an honor as
That
always.
was a long one.
It was, yeah.
I
love you
looked at the
boys.
time a second ago, and it's been like almost 3 hours.
Nice.
I'm sorry for the hell it might be to do this, but to splice my crap together.
We have to just upload it as like 4 different files.
Yeah,
Okay, just label them all like P1, P2, P3, P4.
I've already done that.
Sweet. Well, gentlemen, I love you to bits, and as always, I love doing this with you guys, and I look forward to playing more games and talking about more games.
Indeed. Let's play some Overwatch today.
Yeah, what time are you thinking? Because some stuff I
Right now,
gotta
I'm
do.
going to go get some lunch. And
Okay.
I'm going to eat that, watch a show, and then after that, so maybe like late afternoon, maybe like 4, 5-ish. Is that too
Cool.
late?
No. Yeah, like the later the better, honestly. So,
Okay. Well, I'll
Preston,
be,
I
I'll be
figure
on
you and
tonight
I
too.
at some point today can also hop into some of that Valheim if you're up for it,
Sure,
even if it's like later this evening.
sounds good.
I'll
Sweet.
send you guys a message at some point.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Obviously, this is a critical conclusion to the podcast. So, well, love you boys, and to everyone tuning in, we love you to bits. And always remember, this podcast is available on YouTube and all the major podcasting services, and we are on social media on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So wherever you prefer to follow us there and stay connected. And random thought, but if we have any interest in any effort and being a little more engaging on social media, we'd love to talk with you guys there as well. And of course, as always, we cannot encourage you enough to join our Discord. It's a fun time, and it's a great place to be. So, again, thank you for tuning in. We love you guys. We appreciate your support, and we will talk to you again very soon.
Bye bye.
See you guys.
Later.